But Tessa, I love you.
After We Collided is a mess. Okay, so I've done this too many times because I keep thinking, wow, this is shit, so I'm just gonna talk. This book is bad. I have a couple main points as to why, so trigger warning for people who need it. I'm about to talk about sexual assault. There's also some scenes where Tessa feels a bit suicidal. It's never specifically, like, stated, oh, she's suicidal. There's also a warning of spoilers, obviously. Please don't be stupid and assume there's no spoilers for this book and other books, even though I haven't read them. I just know the plots. Because it's like, what else would happen in these books? What else? Oh yeah, there's no redeemable characters. I'll get into that too. Landon? Okay, so the main point, I'm just gonna go right in. The plot is basically Tessa's mad at Hardin because he fucked her for a bet, and I think might have paid people off to keep them quiet. I don't know if I made that up or if that was in the book, but like, would it surprise us if it was in the book? No, because he's a shit person. But that's not the worst thing he does. So in this book, we get Hardin's point of view at the prologue. And I thought, oh joy, even though I know how these books end, what if Anna Todd pulls a Veronica Roth and adds a new point of view and kills one of our main characters? And then it was like, who would be better to kill, Hardin or Tessa? Let's do a coin toss. Because that's the only way you could pick which one is better to kill. Because they're both so annoying and I hate them both. Like, if Hardin died, Tessa could go live her life and be happy. But if Tessa died, yeah, no, Hardin would have to be the one to die. Because if Tessa died, Hardin would just kill people. But then he'd probably, like, get arrested and then get beaten up in jail and die there. Oh my god, I'm gonna write the sequel to this book, even though there's already a book after this one. I'm gonna write it, and it's gonna be that. But, whatever. So, it starts with Hardin being his mopey self and going, oh, I love her, blah, blah, she's leaving with Zed, and the sting of loss, I've heard it called. I haven't had anyone to cherish, never felt the need to have someone to make them completely mine. I haven't wanted to hold someone so fiercely. And then he goes on to say that he only fucked her for money and bragging rights over Zed. And then he says, but wait, she crept her way into my heart. So while I showed all of my gross friends the evidence that I fucked her, which was a used condom and her bloody bed sheets, by the way, I threw up afterwards because I was so disgusted with what they were making me do, because I loved her. I lost every ounce of goodness she made me see in myself. That's what you deserve, bitch. Fuck off. God. And then we get Tessa's point of view, and I was like, hello, darkness, my old friend. Nice to not, like, just fucking shoot me. Please, I don't need you. And Zed explains everything, and then Tessa's like, oh my god, and Zed's like, he kept coming up with excuses, and he kept asking for more time, and he'd lower the amount he was supposed to get. It was weird. We all just thought he was obsessed with winning, like, to prove a point or something. But I get it. He's basically like, he loved you, blah, blah, blah. And then Hardin is calling her. Oh no, she reveals that they moved in, because Zed's like, so am I taking you to your new dorm? And Tessa's like, I'm not in a dorm. I'm in an apartment with Hardin. Which, by the way, in the movie, because I've talked to some people who have seen it and watched some reviews, in the movie, Tessa, it's not hard, like, they don't buy the apartment, it's just someone Hardin knows is, like, in Italy or something, trying to get away from him, probably, and he's like, oh, we can live here, but in the book, they buy the apartment together. That's how much Hardin gets from fucking this girl. Enough to put a down payment on an apartment, so he can trap her into the relationship, because he makes her sign the lease, so she won't leave him. But, you know, it's okay, because it's romance, wow. And then Tessa's telling Landon everything. Landon is, like, Hardin's stepbrother now. Or are they? I don't know if his parents got married yet. I can't remember. I don't care. And then they're talking, and then there's one of the funniest lines. It's like, as soon as Landon finishes speaking, his head snaps to the side, and then I too notice it. Footsteps. Rushing up the staircase. Not just footsteps, but heavy boots slamming against the wooden stairs in a frenzy. He's here, we both say. And like, that scene made me laugh so hard, because there's a bug in my room now. Anyways, the bug is me, and the book. Okay, it's gone. Anyways, but like, it just felt like that was a scene in a horror movie, not a erotic romance, you know? Romance too. It just didn't fit, but it made me laugh, so that was good. And then what happens is Hardin basically punches a hole through the wall because he's an angry white boy. Isn't that a meme now? I don't know. He breaks that drywall, and then Tessa is like, oh my god, let me fix your wall. And Hardin's dad is like, no, I can fix it. And she's like, no, it's my fault. Hardin was punching your wall. Like, let me fix it. And he's like, Tessa. And literally everyone in the house is like, calm down. You're not paying for the wall. You didn't break it. It's not your fault. And she's like, but it's my responsibility. And it's like, it's not your responsibility to clean up Hardin's mess, Tessa. It's really not. But just the fact that she thinks it is, and the fact that people like her, I mean, like the relationship, even though Tessa's obviously a caretaker for Hardin and not a girlfriend, is kind of sick. But, and then Tessa's also shocked that Hardin's family is mad at him for fucking her for a bet. They're like, what did you do to her? And she's like, they're mad at him for hurting me? That's weird, because he's their son. Like, yeah, but they're also good people. Unlike Hardin. And then there was this line where Hardin's dad was like, I love Hardin. And I said, are you sure that you love Hardin? The kid you let someone name / pitch the name Hardin for? Because I don't think you can love someone and name them that. I'm just saying. Or allow them to without, like, calling Child Protective Services on their parent who did name them that. Like, fuck. That name is so bad. So there's this line where Tessa is like, he has tainted every aspect of my life, including the entire state of Washington. And that's funny. That's not funny. It's actually really scary. Oh, also by this point, we're like on page 12. Where is she? She's at work. And Hardin, I don't think he's doing it at this point, but he does start stalking her. Like, it's so romantic. Oh my god. You know that movie You on Netflix? Hardin watches that and he's like, this is romance. I haven't seen You, but I'm assuming, like, I know it's about a stalker, right? Yeah. That's Hardin's fantasy. Also, fuck. Is that hammering? Okay. There might be hammering in this video too. But, so Tessa's at work, and is this her boss? Yeah, her boss. Well, it's not even her boss. She's an intern, okay? He says, you're doing better and a more detailed job than my actual employees. She's interning at a publishing house. All she has to do all day is read books and go, oh, this one's good, this one's shit. Like, that's all she does. I don't really know how you do that better than employees, because it's all a taste thing. It's like, oh, I like this, but you might not. Like, somebody liked this book enough to publish it. I do not. You know? I don't know. I just feel like that line's really dumb. Like, oh, look at how good Tessa is at her job. Wow, like, it's just dumb. I don't think she's better than the other employees. Because it's Tessa. Like, come on, fuck, man. Right, on page 14, we get the start of Hardin stalking her because he's called her work 10 times. And, like, Buddy, she like, told him to leave her alone. I forgot to mention this. Back when he punched that hole in the wall, it was because everyone was like, Hardin, you need to leave. And Hardin was like, Tessa doesn't want me to leave. And she was like, actually, I do. And he said, see? Tell them, Tessa. Say it louder for the people in the back. And she went, I want you to leave. Surprise! And then Hardin, like, punches the hole in the wall. And so she wants him to leave her alone. And he's calling her work 10 times. Okay? That's the beginning of a stalker. Oh, then we get this beautiful scene with my favorite character of the whole book, Tessa's mom. So she goes to visit her mom because she's heartbroken and her life is shit, and, like, you know, she got fucked for a bet and she just needs some motherly comfort. And her mom is like, I'm sure he'll forgive you. And Tessa says, who? And her mom goes, Noah, of course. Her mom is still trying to set her up with Noah. Tessa cheated on Noah how many times in the first book? Like, I don't want to attack Anna Todd here, but, like, why keep this going? Why keep bringing Noah back as the potential, like, other love interest in Tessa's mom eyes? Like, I get it, it's to show that her mom is, like, trying to control her life, and she's living through her daughter, and blah, 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 but oh my god, we don't care. Noah needs to move on, and the problem is, Tessa's mom is, like, living Noah's life for him too, and that's just really weird. And I was watching this one review of the movie, and someone was like, I thought Noah was her brother, and then they kissed. And, like, that's a good point. If Noah was her brother, and they weren't dating, maybe they could be, who knows. This book probably wouldn't, like, it would probably swoop as low as incest. It swooped as low as sexual assault. But, like, I don't know, I feel like if Noah was a younger brother, because in the first book he, like, tattletales on Tessa for going to a college party and drinking. I feel like if he was a younger brother, his character would make a lot more sense. And then we could also just not have the cheating, and Tessa could be redeemed a little. But, we got the cheating, and Tessa's not redeemed at all. So, Noah calls Hardin a scum, and I called Noah a dweeb. So, this review is gonna be kind of like the first one, just I'm going through, like, page by page to read what I want. So I forgot to sticky note this, but Tessa says, Hardin must have really hated me to go to this extreme to ruin my life, and then to move me into an apartment far from anyone I know. And people just don't, like, seem to recognize that line as facts, because that's what he does. He moves her into an apartment, makes her sign the lease, so now she's legally bound to him. That's how he saw it. Legally bound to him, so she won't leave when she finds out he fucked her for a bet. Like, he knew he fucked up that badly, and he didn't care. Why is my fridge making noise? Who's talking outside? I'm trying to have a breakdown. So, Tessa's in their apartment to get her stuff to, like, go wherever the fuck. I don't know. And Hardin shows up with some woman. Don't worry, he's not fucking her. He's just showing her the apartment because he's now trying to sell it. Because, you know, he fucked up. And Tessa sees his tree tattoo, and she's like, only now I see the parallel between him and the tree. Both unfeeling, both alone. At least the tree has hope to bloom again. Hardin does not. So, here's an argument they have. Where does it start? I miss you so much, Tessa. Sure you do. I do, Tessa. I know I fucked up big time, but I love you. I need you. Just stop, Hardin. Save yourself the time and energy. You aren't fooling me. Not anymore. You got what you wanted, so why not stop? Because I can't. I love you. I need you to give me a chance to make this up to you. I need you, Tessa. I need you. You need me too. No, shut up. Sorry. No, I don't actually. I was fine before you came into my life. And then he says, fine isn't happy. And she says, happy? And what? Am I happy now? Because she's not, and she hasn't be. And then she's like, but he did make me happy once. But there was also that scene in the first book where she was like, I'm scared to talk in case Hardin gets mad at me because we're having such a good time right now. And I don't want us to go back to fighting. That doesn't sound happy. That sounds stressed. And then Tessa buys his bullshit and says, but for some reason I feel relief that Hardin and I are the only people who really know what happened between us. The real details of our moments together. Like, Tessa, you don't know what other people know, because Hardin isn't telling you that. Punch him in the dick! Just get out of this apartment! You don't need to still be there! I'm still on the same page, but it got better! Don't you love me? He asks, looking at me between his fingers. Yes, I do, I admit. Then why can't you forgive me? Because this is unforgivable. You didn't just lie. You took my virginity to win a bet, and then showed people my blood on the sheets How could anyone forgive that? And then this really tops the cake. One sec.
I took your virginity because I love you.
Hardin Scott says that and thinks that makes it okay.
Well, you should have thought about that when you were bragging about your conquest. My conquest? Are you fucking serious right now? You aren't some conquest of mine. You're everything to me. You're my breath, my pain, my heart, my life.
And then they kiss. And Tessa says, I keep struggling to get out of his grip, but my mouth continues to move along with his, because we're supposed to be like, how romantic. That moved.
Tessa, please just stay here, so I know where you are.
You don't have to know where I am, Hardin. You don't need to know that.
Yes, I do.
Oh, and then we meet this other pathetic asshole named Trevor. Is Trevor an asshole? No, wait. Oh, this is a big complaint I have. So Trevor is he's a demon in our eyes. Oh, fucking Trevor. That's what Hardin always calls him every time he sees him because, oh, that guy wants to fuck Tessa and I'm the only one allowed to do that. And, there's this scene later on in the book where Hardin, almost beats the shit out of Trevor for talking to Tessa or for being in her hotel room or something, talking with her. And then the next day, Trevor is like, has Hardin ever abused you physically? And Tessa's like, no, why would you think he would even think about laying a hand on me? Where would you get such a ludicrous idea? Hardin would never hurt a fly named Tessa. And Noah's like, not Noah, what's his name? Trevor is like, okay. Sorry I asked. And she's like, yeah, buddy, you better be fucking sorry. What the fuck's wrong with you? Hardin would never abuse me. Even though he would fuck me for a bet, tell all of our friends, and then force me to sign an apartment lease so I couldn't leave him. But he would never, ever do anything like that. He would never lay a hand on me. And then we get a beautiful scene, which I'm gonna go find right now. Please come arrest Hardin Scott. So I know I was gonna go find a scene, but then I stumbled across this gem where Hardin is beating up his dad. And his dad is like, Tessa's not in my house because she knows you'll find her here. That's why she's not here. And Hardin fights the urge to knock his teeth down his throat, and instead he runs his fingers through his hair, and some of his hair gets caught on his bloody knuckle because he's been punching so many things that his hands are not hands anymore. They're just cuts and bruises. And then he says, he keeps punching drywall, and he's like, wow, why did that hurt my hands? I didn't expect that. But it's nothing compared to how I feel inside. I never knew this type of pain existed. It's so much worse than any physical pain I could I could cause myself. I don't know why I don't know why I thought that said execute, but whatever. So here, let me show you what Hardin's been doing this whole time.
I love Tessa. I love Tessa. I love Tessa. I love Tessa.
I did want to make this a unique review. And then this part's one of my favorite things. She's probably going over the reasons she hates me. Actually, she's probably writing them down. Her need to be in control of everything and her stupid list used to drive me crazy. But now I long to see her scribbling the most irrelevant things. Yeah, that's the sentence. And then we get this gem. I call her again, but her phone goes straight to voicemail for the 20th time. God damn it, I'm such a fucking idiot. after driving around an hour to every library, every bookstore. I decide to go back to the apartment. Maybe she'll show up. Maybe she'll show up. I know she won't. So, like, Hardin has just been driving around all of Washington looking for Tessa, even though she was like, leave me alone. And then I guess Hardin's asleep, and he has a dream about his mother being raped by all of these men. And I don't remember if I addressed this in my last video, but, like, Hardin's childhood trauma is his dad, what did he do? I don't know. Slept with someone's wife, and then these guys from the bar he gets drunk at are like, let's go rob his house. Because that's equal. And I'm not laughing because it's funny. So they get there and they're like, oh, he has a wife. Let's all fuck her. And then Hardin is like, no, Mom. And she's like, Hardin, leave. But he watches the whole thing. And, like, Tessa cures him from these nightmares by just laying there. He needs to go to therapy instead. So Tessa is now staying in a hotel, and I think, how small is Washington? I don't know how small Washington is, but you know who's at the same hotel as her because his house is doing renovations or something flooded, or, like, he just wanted to see a new bed? I don't know. Trevor is at the same hotel as her. They didn't plan this. They never talked about it. But Tessa's car breaks down and he's like, oh, I'll drive you to work or something. I don't remember if that happens in this scene. But then Tessa is also going to Seattle for a work conference, even though she's an intern and not an actual employee. But, like, they just love her so much because, of course, they do. She's the main character in a novel. And then Hardin shows up. And this might have been the scene I was going for. And so, yeah, Trevor's there because of plumbing. He's like, my plumbing is fixed, so I won't be staying at the motel again, but I'll wait with you to drive you home because your car's broken. And Tessa's like, okay, but then Trevor, see, they're like the same character, just one of them fucks Tessa. Well, neither of them do, but you know what I mean. Trevor is just kind of like, and then Tessa's all like, what is it, bro? And he's like, and who is it? And no one else but Hardin Scott. Wow, we saw this coming. And then she's like, how can this day get any worse? And then she says, Hardin, what are you doing here? And he says, well, you didn't answer my calls, so I didn't have much of a choice, did I? And she says, I didn't answer for a reason. You can't just show up at my job. And Trevor is still pissing himself because, oh my god, here's a big scary man and I'm a little dweeb with no, like, arm mass. And then Hardin grabs, this is the scene, he grabs Trevor by his shirt and is like, oh, he just slams him against a truck. That's what happens. And then Tessa says, Hardin, stop, we didn't stay together. And then she's like, back off him right now, mister, or you're gonna be grounded. And then she's like, I'm sorry, Trevor. And he's like, do you still need a ride? And Hardin says, no, she doesn't. And Tessa says, yes, please. I need a minute. And then she goes and talks to Hardin alone, which she didn't have to do. She does not, like, Tessa doesn't owe Hardin any of her time. And she keeps thinking this. She's like, I don't need to, like, do stuff for him. But she keeps doing it. Go away. And then he's like, I can't believe you're staying in a motel. And she's like, yeah, neither can I. And he's like, you can stay at the apartment. I'll go back to the frat house or something. And she says, no, not happening. And he's like, don't be difficult. And she says, difficult? You aren't serious. I shouldn't even be talking to you right now. Which, like, then walk away. Like, you just have to say that and leave. What you're doing is you keep talking to him. You keep interacting with him. You keep giving Hardin it's okay to keep following me because you'll get what you want if you don't stop it. Like, if you really want him to leave you alone, you have to start walking away first. He's not going to get the hint. And the more you go up to him and go, okay, what do you want? The more he's going to keep coming back. Get a restraining order, Tessa. And then she's like, oh yeah, he's like, what's wrong with your car? Because he overheard them. And she's like, nothing's wrong with my car. I'll deal with it. And then he says, I'll take a look at it. And she says, no, I'll call someone, just go. Because she wants him to leave her alone, even though Tessa's the one who has to physically walk away because Hardin won't stop. That's called stalking. And then Hardin says the most romantic line in the whole book, except for that one scene that I'm making my way towards slowly. He says, I'll follow you to the motel. And Tessa says, would you just stop? Is this some sort of game to you, to see how far you can push me? Because he doesn't get boundaries. And yeah, maybe that's because he's had a fucked up life, a fucked up childhood, but she is saying it to his face, you need to leave me alone, and he doesn't fucking leave her alone. Like, Hardin's first language is English, and I bet you, if I said leave me alone to someone whose first language wasn't English, they would get the hint. But he doesn't, and we're supposed to be rooting for this couple. Like, fuck. Murder me, but pretend I said it in French or something. And then he says, no, that's not what I'm doing. How could you even think that after everything I've done? And it's like, Hardin, what have you actually done to her that's good? Nothing. You're following her. You fucked her for a bet. You did that apartment thing to make her stay with you. You, like, beat people up because they look at her. And, like, the thing in Seattle that happens. That happens. That's why. And then she says, exactly, I do think that because of everything you've done. And then she almost laughs at him. And I was like, me too, because he's insane. Don't have his children. And then Hardin says, I know you miss me too. And she says, is that what you want to hear, that I miss you? Of course I miss you. But you know what? That's not actually you that I miss. It's who I thought you were. And now I know who you really are. I want nothing to do with you. And he says, you've always known who I really am. I've been me all along. You know that. No, I didn't know that. If I knew that, I stopped myself before admitting that I want to forgive him. Which, like, that doesn't work that well. No! Bad Tessa. I didn't mean to stop filming at that part, that's why there was that weird cut, but I had to find the lid for that, just so I don't accidentally spill it, because there's a lot of books on my floor. It looks like my bookshelf is full, but it's not. I set up just for this. But, Hardin says, Tessa, you don't know what it's been like for the past few days for me. I can't sleep. I can't even function without you. I need to know there's a chance we could, and she says, what it's been like for you? How can you be so selfish? And, like, that's where I would have just walked away. And then they just keep arguing for however long. Oh, I tabbed something. She says, how do you think it feels to try and move on from this when you keep showing up everywhere? You don't know when to stop. Which, like, did I not just say that for the past 5 minutes? Oh, it's so hot in my apartment. Fuck. And then Tessa says my favorite line, which I think I'm gonna pass over to our actress.
I feel sorry for you, because you will never be happy. You will be alone for the rest of your life, and for that, I feel sorry for you. I'll move on, I'll find a nice man who will treat me the way you should have, and we'll get married, and have children, and I will be happy.
So, and then it's the next day, Tessa's at her motel, and she realizes, my car is missing. I haven't called anyone about it yet. Or, no, she did call someone about it, and they came to her hotel room, and they're like, yo, your car's gone. And she's like, oh, okay, that's weird. I wonder what could have happened to my precious car. And then we find out that Hardin called someone else to come get the car, to get it fixed, even though Tessa said, don't do that. Because he's so romantic, guys. Oh my god, him fixing her car just fixes everything. Wow. Here's just a beautiful line from Hardin Scott. So he's talking about things he misses about Tessa. To have her swat at me when I try to grope her. I don't think grope is the right word. Also, just a callback to my first video, like, buy a stress ball. Buy a stress ball, so Hardin. Now we're in Hardin's point of view. At this point, Tessa, I believe, is in Seattle, and Hardin is at a college party. Of course. And he says, I don't care how crazy I'm being as long as it helps me get close to her again. I will be happy, she said. I know I didn't make her happy, but I could. At the same time, it isn't fair for me to keep bothering her. I got her car fixed because I didn't want her to have to worry about doing it herself. I'm glad that I did, because I wouldn't have known she was going to Seattle if I hadn't called Vance to make sure she didn't have a ride. Why wouldn't she tell me? That prick Trevor is with her right now when I should be. I know he likes her, and I could see her falling for him. He's exactly what she needs, and they're a lot alike. Unlike her and I, he could make her happy. The thought pisses me off, and it makes me want to slam his head through a window. But maybe I need to give her space, and give her a chance to be happy. She made it clear yesterday that she can't forgive me. And then he does that thing that he does in Seattle, which is my next point, after some quick messages. So they get to, in Seattle, Tessa, I think she's 19, gets into a bar, or a club, I don't remember which one. I think it's a club because there's a dance floor. And no one cards her, she gets drunk there, and the reason is because Vance, the publisher that she works for, interns for, is just so well known in the clubbing areas of Seattle that he just gets in with a wave of a finger. And I just, like, are publishers that, like, I guess because he's rich, but, like, I don't know, I just find that weird because he's, like, a publisher. And everyone's like, oh my god, Mr. Vance, it's you! Like, does he also do some, like, drugs on the side? Like, is he selling the cocaine? Because I think he's selling the cocaine. Oh, and then we have this dumb line where Tessa's like, I hope Landon and I can still be friends even though Hardin and I aren't together. Even though, like, Hardin was never in his life the deciding factor between if Tessa and Landon were gonna be friends, because they met in class before Tessa knew Hardin and Landon were gonna be stepbrothers, so, like, but also, can Landon please just fuck off? Thank you. So I found the beginning of the Seattle scene. So Tessa gets very drunk on 5 or 6 sexes on the beaches, and then she says, she's calling Hardin at this point because she's drunk, and, you know, drunk people make bad decisions, except for me when I'm fucking wasted, because you know what drunk me has never done? Bought this book. But so she calls him, and she's like, we never had sex on the beach. That could have been fun. And then she smirks, even though it's the phone, and she says, I wish I could see his stupid face right now. Not stupid, beautiful. But stupid sounds better right now. And he's like, oh my god, you're trashed because you're horny. Even though, like, she just has to look at you and she's horny, man. And then he's like, where are you? And she's like, somewhere you're not. And he's like, obviously it's a club. And she's like, oh, someone's grumpy. Also, Hardin's a bit drunk too. I should add that in. He's been taking shots all night. And then he says, I can easily find out where you are. And she's like, I sort of believe him, not that I care. And then she says, why didn't you call me? Because you call me every day. And then it's just kind of boring from there on until, what does she do? Earlier, I think she kissed another guy and she tells Hardin about that too. And then they go to their hotel and Tessa just kind of, like, plops down on the bed and is, like, asleep. And then she hears a noise. And it's a consistent. And she's like, oh, what is that noise? It's Hardin! He came to Seattle from his college, even though he's drunk and probably was too drunk to drive. But you know what? Going back to what happens in the first book, Hardin probably just stood outside screaming for a solid minute, and all of the alcohol just left his system through his scream. And then Hardin is like, open the fucking door. And then he starts kicking the door. And I said, call the front desk and have them call the cops. Because he's doing this because Tessa kissed some random dude in a club. They're not together. And then she gets distracted by his shoes, which aren't his boots. And then, oh, Trevor is in the room. I don't know why. And then he says, Hardin's like, you think you can get her drunk and come to her fucking hotel room? And then he's like, gonna kill Trevor. And Tessa is like, Trevor, go to your room. I'll talk him out of his crazy behavior. And then Hardin's like, crazy? I'm not crazy. Probably like holding a knife. I'm not crazy. And Tessa's like, yeah, crazy. You can't just show up here and barge into my room trying to beat my friend up. And then Hardin says, he shouldn't have been here. Why was he in here? Why are you still dressed? And fuck, where did that dress come from? Because we all know what's gonna happen. It's been 78 pages and no one's fucked yet. And then, oh, Trevor was there because they accidentally switched phones and he was just giving it back. And then she's like, I can't remember the other questions you asked, only why is Trevor here? And Hardin's like, well, maybe because you're really fucking drunk and you shouldn't be. And then she goes, I'll drink what I want, and why and how and when I want, thank you, which, like, she's too drunk to say that, but okay. And then he says, you're annoying while you're drunk, and then he sits in a chair. And now this is where my trigger warning comes into play. This scene is a sexist scene. Sexist. It's a sex scene. Tessa's very drunk. Hardin is sober and repeatedly says no. So I'm gonna read some parts of it, but like, people think this is romantic. And then Tessa's like, you're annoying when you're everything. And then she's like, I can't believe you're in my room. And he's like, did you fuck Trevor? And she's like, no, you asshole, of course I didn't. And then he was like, were you going to? Did you want to? And she's like, no, you're insane. And then he's like, then why are you still dressed? And she's like, I just said I'm not having sex with him, you idiot. Why else would I be dressed? And then she's like, maybe I had sex with him. Maybe I had sex with someone else. You'll never know. And then we get this line. Hardin's face turns dark, animalistic. What did you just say? He barks because we're all dogs here. And then she's like, you heard me. And then she moves over him. Maybe I let the guy at the club take me into the bathroom. Maybe Trevor took me to his bed. And then she looks over at her bed. And then Hardin is like getting really pissed and he's like, shut up right now. And then she feels empowered and strong. And then she feels like ripping his shirt off him. And then she's like, what's wrong, Hardin? Don't like the idea of Trevor's hands all over my body. And then she climbs on his lap. And then she just starts acting really sexy. And here's the part that I have to get into my complaint for this scene. I don't like reading this. It made me very uncomfortable. It's making me uncomfortable now, but I need people who watch this to understand that this is bad. What happens in this scene is bad. It's sexual assault, borderlining on rape, because I don't really want to go as far as to say that, but like it pretty much is. Because she's drunk and he's saying no. So he says, you're drunk, Tessa, and tries to get her off him. And she says, but I want you. And then he says, Tessa, you don't know what you're doing. You're wasted. And she says, Hardin, stop overthinking this. Don't you miss me? And then she's like, I don't know if I've ever wanted him so badly. And he's like, I can't, Tess, please. And then she starts rocking her hips, and he says no. And he stops her from rocking her hips, and he's like, you have two options here. You fuck me, or you get out. And then he says, you'll hate me tomorrow if I do this while you're in this state. And she says, I already hate you, sort of. And he's like, can we at least talk about this first? And this is like the first time Hardin is like, whoa, cut it out. Which is just not natural for his character. If this was anything like the Hardin we've seen, he would already be balls deep in this girl. Like, let's be real. And then he says, we can't do this, not like this. And then I said, you were drunk the first time you fucked her, just because I felt like pointing that out. And then she's like, don't you want to fuck me in all of these places at the hotel? The bed, the desk, the sink, this chair, that window? And he says, fuck. Okay, fuck it. And then they have sex. Oh, he says, I can't take advantage of you. And then she's like, just shut up and fuck me. And then I said, if the roles were reversed, people would find it more problematic. If, like, Tessa was the one saying no and Hardin was the one being like, but you want this body. And then, where is it? We get Hardin's point of view as the, during the sex scene. And he says, I can't stop her, not even if I wanted to. And I said, you literally can. All you have to do is push her off you, because you're on a chair, she will fall to the floor, you stand up, and if you don't want to leave the hotel room, just stand in the corner with your hands holding your pants up so she can't force them off you. That's all you gotta do. Or you gotta go lay her on the bed, lay on top of her so she can't move until she falls asleep because she's drunk enough to just pass out. And then boom, you're out of that situation and you don't have to sexually assault someone. And then Tessa is like, really, really, like, I'm a sex goddess. And then he's like, I need to pay attention to every detail of the fuck, because it probably won't happen again. And then he's still hesitant, and she's like, do I need to start myself? And, like, we know Tessa, she's not usually like this, which is why it's such a big, like, oh my god, she really wants to fuck him. Her subconscious wants this, because drunk people do what they wouldn't normally do, because they're braver, because they're drunk. That's not true! I've been drunk. It's not true! And then they have sex. Also, there was this line where I just saw it. Hardin was like, the only relief I had ever since we, like, broke up is imagining her. And I'm like, you were too sad to masturbate, Hardin. There's no way you put your hand on your penis and did anything. You were too depressed and busy stalking her. And then, we stand sexual assault in the fandom. Oh my god. And then Tessa wakes up the next morning. Chapter 8. We're 8 chapters in. And she doesn't remember what happened. She just knows Hardin's sleeping next to her. And then she's like, I don't know what to say. And he says, you called me. And she says, I didn't tell you to come here. And then where is it? He says, are you okay with what happened last night? And she says, no, I'm not okay with it. Which could have started such a beautiful conversation if this wasn't after. He says, do you hate me more than before? And she says it's about the same, which, okay. And he says, oh. And then he says, I didn't mean to take advantage of you, I swear it. Even though you did. You didn't trip and land inside of her. You made the conscious choice to stay in that room, let her take your pants off, and took her dress off. Like, you made all of those conscious choices. So yeah, like, just call it rape. He made all of these conscious choices to do these things. It wasn't an accident. I didn't mean to take advantage of you. Obviously you did, because you didn't stop anything. And then he says, I know you're probably angry, but we have a lot to talk about. And she says, no, we don't. I was drunk and called you. You came here and we had sex. What else is there to talk about? And then she sees his hands are, like, beaten up, and she's like, did you kill Trevor? And Hardin's like, no, you wouldn't let me. And then, where is it? She's like, you didn't have to come here. And he said, yes, I did. You were drunk and God knows what else could have happened. Oh, so like what? I could have slept with someone who I shouldn't have? And then he's like, she says, he should have known better than to sleep with me when I was so drunk. And then he said, you didn't give me much of a choice, if you remember. And I said, you could have left. You had working legs. You could have, like, even if you didn't, you could have, like, pulled yourself out of that room with your arms. And if you didn't have arms, just do the worm. Just, like, flop out of there. You had so many options to leave. You could have jumped out the window. I don't care how high up you were. You could have done that. There's another bug in my room. But, like, there were options for Hardin to leave. There were chances, and he didn't take any of them. Because he's a gross individual. And then she's like, don't you dare try to blame this all on me. You could have said no. And he says, I did repeatedly. And she says, I had no idea what was going on and you know it. And she's half lying there. She's like, I wanted it, but I'm not willing to admit it. And then Hardin is like, he says, you just taste so good. Talk to me like you used to. You're the only one, Hardin. And then, because he's like saying things she said to him last night, and she's like, get out. And he's like, you weren't telling me to do that last night. And she's like, because I was drunk. And then he's like, I don't even know why I came here. And I was like, yeah, why did you? Like, you did. And we get this scene. And then the problem is it's never really addressed again. The fact that Hardin and Tessa did this. The fact that they both overstepped very big boundaries is never really addressed after this. And then he's like, I'm not leaving until you talk to me about any of this. And she's like, I already told you we have nothing to talk about. You hurt me and I can't forgive you. End of story. Leave. And then he's like, you haven't even tried to forgive me. And it's like, well, she has, but you stalked her. And then you had sex with her while she was drunk. Even though you were the sober one and should have left. And then they have this awkward, like, getting ready scene where they're kind of acting normal. And then she's like, how did you find me? And she's like, my room. How did you find my room? And he said, oh, the people at the front desk. I can be very persuasive. And then she's like, that the hotel would do that doesn't make me feel any better. Like, 2 hotels have fucked Tessa over. One let Hardin take her car, and another let Hardin into her like, private area. I don't think hotels would legally be allowed to do that. Anyways. Like, once I was staying at a hotel and our key cards got rubbed against something that, like, deactivated them, and me and my brother were alone. Okay, that fly got out. Because we were at Disneyland, and my parents were staying, and we were tired, so we wanted to go back, but we couldn't get in, and they were like, oh, do you have, like, a parent with you, any identification? And it was like, no, because we're, like, what? How old was I? I was, like, 15, my brother was 13, maybe, and it's like, our parents have all of our identification, because why would we carry that around with us in our pant pocket? Like, it's a passport. My mom has that in her little pouch. So I doubt a hotel would be like, oh yes, I'm gonna let this angry man into this girl's room. It's not realistic. And then this is where he finds out she kisses someone, and then to retaliate, he's like, oh yeah, while you were kissing that random man at the club, I fucked Molly. And then I'm gonna skip over a little bit here to go to a scene. I don't know where it is in here, but Hardin is with Landon, and he's like, Landon, I need you to, like, help me. I keep fucking up with Tessa, and I just want to make things right because I love her. And Landon's like, well, what have you done? Like, come on, it can't be as bad as what you've already done. And Hardin's like, well, I had sex with her while she was very drunk, like, impossibly drunk. And Landon's like, okay. And Hardin says, and then I told her I fucked Molly. And Landon is like, Hardin? You told her you fucked Molly? That's, like, the worst thing you could do. And it's like, Landon, he had sex with her while she was drunk. And you're focusing on the Molly thing? The thing that doesn't matter? That's when I started not liking Landon as much. And there's a lot of scenes where Landon is like, but Tessa, you can tell Hardin really loves you, so you should give him another chance. And I realized that's all his character is. He did that in the first book, he's doing it now. Every character does that in this book at some point. Like, Hardin's dad, Landon's mom, Hardin's mom, because she comes and visits, they're all like, I can tell my son loves you, so you should give him a chance. Except Hardin's mom is kind of like, if it's best for you, don't, but I haven't seen him this happy in his whole life. He's always just been a little angry man, so, like, do what you will, but I love seeing him happy, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, don't break up with him, because it will make me sad. So now we're at the scene where Noah is like, does Hardin abuse you? So he says, has Hardin ever, has he ever hurt you? He hasn't ever hurt you, right? And she says, what? We fight a lot, so yeah, he hurts me all the time. That's all I can say. And then he says, I meant physically. And he's scared to ask her this, as one should be. And she says, no, of course not. He'd never do that. And he says, I'm sorry, he just seems so violent and angry. And she's like, Hardin is angry, sometimes violent, but he would never, ever hurt me like that. And then she feels angry that Trevor would believe Hardin could be capable of physically hurting Tessa. But everything we've seen in the book shows us that Hardin would hurt Tessa. There's even a scene later on, I'll probably talk about it again when I get to it, but Hardin, raises a hand to run his hand through his hair during an argument, and Tessa flinches, and then he's like, oh my god, you thought I was gonna hit you, and she's like, what? No, I know you would never hit me. I don't know why I did that. That was just, totally an involuntary reaction, which, yeah, if you think someone's gonna hit you, you're gonna go, oh god, involuntarily. You're not gonna consciously think, oh, I should flinch, let me flinch, because that adds too much time to let them slap you. I also really wanted Hardin to slap Tessa at one point during this book because she says Hardin won't slap me or hit me or physically abuse me so many times that I was like, I need it to happen so she can realize that it will happen. And then it does in one scene, but it's an accident because he's beating someone else up and she tries to get him off that person. So it's forgiven. It shouldn't be forgiven. So I found the scene where Hardin is talking to Landon. It was on the next couple of pages. Wow, this book is ripping too. I don't care. Anyways, so they're talking and Landon is like, hee hee, I get to talk to Hardin Scott. Oh, I have this theory. Landon wants to fuck Hardin because every time Hardin is near him, Landon is smiling and it's I don't know why you would be having this reaction to this man unless you actively wanted him to touch you sexually. Anyways, so Hardin is like, yeah, I actually went to Seattle last night and she let me stay with her. And Landon is like, she what? And Hardin says, yeah, she was drunk. I mean, really drunk. She practically made me fuck her. And then Landon is like, at the choice of the word fuck, not the situation. So Hardin goes, sorry, she made me sleep with her. Well, not made me because I wanted to. I mean, how could you say no? She just... And Landon's like, okay, I don't need to know about your guys' sex life because she's my friend and you're my stepbrother and I want to fuck you, not her. Please, Hardin. And then Hardin's like, so anyways, then this morning I said some shit that I shouldn't have said because she told me she kissed someone and she's... What is his name? Landon is like, she kissed someone? Tessa? She's not a slut. And then Hardin says, yeah, some guy at a fucking nightclub. And he's like, wow, she's really mad at you if she kissed a stranger. And he's like, I know. I'm in the right, Landon. I'm glad someone finally sees it. And then Landon's like, so what did you say to her this morning? And then he's like, I told her that I fucked Molly yesterday. And Landon's like, did you fuck Molly? And Hardin's like, God, no. And he's like, then why did you say you did? And then he's more mad about Hardin saying that to hurt Tessa than he is about Hardin sleeping with Tessa while she's drunk. And that's very bad. That's not a good friend. Landon, check yourself. Fuck, man. And then Hardin's like, do you think she loves me? And Landon's like, I don't know. And he's a bad liar, so Hardin knows that he does. She does. And then Hardin is like, will you help me? Can you help me make her fall in love with me again? And Landon's like, I don't know. Her birthday's tomorrow. Because of course it is. And yeah, that's kind of the scene. So Trevor and Tessa are on a date, kind of. And this is just a funny thing. So he's like, oh, what are you doing for Christmas? And she's like, oh, just going to my mom's house, nothing much. And he's like, oh, I'm doing volunteer work at a shelter. I don't really like going back to Ohio. I have a few cousins and aunts, but since my mother passed, there isn't much here for me. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry about your mom. And then she just shovels ravioli into her mouth, and I just found that really fucking funny. And then Tessa gets her birthday gift from Hardin. It's an e-reader with every book they've ever discussed on it. But the problem is, we've never seen them discuss any of these books. So it has no significance to us. So on page 116 is when I lost all respect for Landon as a human being, character, thing, whatever the fuck, I don't know. So, it's Tessa's birthday, and he's hanging out with her in her motel room, just eating takeout, which honestly, perfect birthday. One of my favorite birthdays that I've ever celebrated was just a bunch of me and my friends reading a story I wrote in my apartment, and then reading some of my favorite book, which I'm gonna do a vlog reading for, because I realized I can. Oh, I'm so excited. Anyways, so they're just having a nice birthday, and then Landon kills himself in my eyes. He says, oh, like, you bought yourself an e-reader, and Tessa's like, oh no, this was actually from Hardin, and he confuses me because he does all this fucked up shit, but then he does these very nice things for me. Like, I really don't know what to feel. And then, do I have a fork? I have a pen. He goes, well, he does love you. And I was like, fuck off. Like, that's all I can say. Like, you didn't have to do that. You don't have to validate Hardin and his feelings. You shouldn't be, because Tessa is eating takeout in a motel, not just on her birthday, but like every day, because of how badly Hardin fucked up. And then, he's like, yeah, he talked to me yesterday, and like, he's totally in love with you, Tessa. And she's like, what did he say? And he's like, that he loves you, that he wants me to help him persuade you to give him another chance. I wanted to know. I didn't want to keep things from you. And she's like, wow, I can't believe he would ask anyone for relationship advice at all. Like, wow, Hardin must really love me. And I'm like, please stop. Haven't we been through enough? It's been 117 pages. God, And then it's just annoying. It's more annoying things. And then Tessa goes to her apartment to get more clothes, I think. And then she's like, oh, Hardin made this place a mess. I'm gonna clean. So she just starts cleaning the whole apartment. And then a door opens and Tessa's like, ah, shit. It's Hardin. And then some lady is like, wow, Hardin, it's beautiful in here. This is such a lovely apartment. And guess who it is? It's Mama Scott. I think she has a different last name than him, which is weird, because, like, why would Hardin be called Hardin Scott if he didn't have, like, he's not really his dad's kid anymore? Like, it just shouldn't be his last name, is what I'm saying. He should have his mother's last name, because he despises his father but loves his mom. But then she's there, and Tessa's also there, and Hardin's like, oh, Tessa, and his mom is like, you told me she wasn't gonna be here! I get to meet Tessa Young, the girl who changed my boy for the better, and, like, made him a good person, and Hardin's like, yep, that's her. His mom says, what a cheeky boy, and I just want her to pinch his cheeks, like, I don't know. And then, oh, Mrs. Daniels, so her last name is Daniels. It should be Hardin Daniels, is what I'm getting at. Because it makes more logical sense. Like, even if it's legally his last name, Scott, I feel like he would call himself Daniels because he doesn't want any connection to his father. Just saying. This also leads into Hardin and Tessa pretending to date, just so they don't break Hardin's mom's heart. Because this book has time for that. So this is kind of what gets them back together, is they have to pretend to be a couple. Tessa has to pretend Hardin hasn't fucked up her life. Hardin has to pretend that, well, nothing really. This is what he's wanted the whole time. So that's kind of what happens. Also, Hardin's mom is way too awake for someone who just had a flight from fucking England to Washington. She's like, I'm gonna cook dinner, and they're like, okay. And then later she passes out and they're like, wow, she must be tired. Like, no shit. So Hardin, like, throws a plate in the sink, and then I guess that's all he does. And Tessa's like, as usual, I'm left to clean up Hardin's messes. Like, you don't have to do that. Hardin can do that later. Or, like, maybe you can, but you don't have to clean up his messes. You choose to, because you think that's what you're supposed to do as his girlfriend. And then they have this small chat. Like, it literally lasts from, like, here to here. And it basically is like, Tessa's like, Hardin's like, go, and Tessa's like, I don't want to. And then she has this dramatic part where she's like, I swear I can see the pieces of the broken man in front of me slowly coming back together one by one. It's a beautiful sight, but terrifying deep in my soul too. And then they're like, we'll figure out what this means for our emotional love connection later on. Because we need more books. And then I randomly just wrote, I want to die, which, like, fair. Fair. Very fair. So Tessa's comparing her life to books. And then Hardin is like, I didn't sleep with Molly. And she says, nothing. And he says, I swear. And she says, oh, well, if you swear it, why would you say that then? And he's like, to hurt you. And that's it. He's like, I knew it would hurt you the most, so I said it. Wanna make out with me? Like, fuck off. Oh, and then on the next page, Hardin is like, say you only kissed that guy once and you never saw him again. It's like, you would know if she saw him again because you have been following her for so long. Also, he's in Seattle and you guys are in Washington right now. Calm down. We're also learning about this other girl. I think her name is Natalie, but she's kind of like the OG Tessa, like the original Tessa of Hardin's life. You know, the first girl he fucked for a bet, I think, or like the last before Tessa, I don't remember, but he says, I knew she only agreed to go out with me to fulfill some fucked up bad boy fantasy before church the next morning. And it's like, that's what Tessa did too, though. That's what Tessa did. We're 140 pages in when Hardin Edward Scott decides, you know what, I should give Tessa, Jane Austen Young, some space. Tessa makes a pros and cons list about why she should be with Hardin or not be with Hardin again, so I made one for her. Pros, none. Cons, everything. He had sex with you while you were drunk. And that was my list. So Tessa says, I know my pros list is full of small things, especially compared to the large negatives, but the small things are the most important, right? Like, yeah, in life, but not in, oh, should I date this man who's made me cry and feel like shit and fucked me for a bet and then tried to trap me in a relationship by making me sign an apartment lease and then slept with me while I was drunk and, like, threatened to beat up my friend because he was being my friend and, like, stole my car and stalked me and wouldn't leave me alone when I asked him to? Yeah, but, like, he got me a Kobo once or something, you know? He's nice, I guess. So Tessa visits her mom for a brief scene, and her mom is like, your hair is gross, your dress is too revealing, I see a little too much of your throat, what else? Oh, your makeup's bad, I can set you up with Noah again if you'd like. Oh wait, it's already happening, I planned your wedding, it's next Tuesday. Also, you should have called ahead, because even though I am in perfect makeup, my hair is perfectly done, and I'm in this beautiful, elegant dress, I look like a slob. What the fuck is wrong with you, Tessa? So Tessa's like, I can't spend Christmas with you. Goodbye. So she goes back to Hardin and his mom at the apartment, and she, like, hugs Hardin and starts crying, and he says, holding her for the first time in what seems like a lifetime is better than I could even begin to describe, even though they, like, just had sex in Seattle. Physical relief floods through me when she runs into my arms. I never expected this to happen. She's been so distant, so cold lately. I don't blame her, but fuck if it hasn't hurt. I don't care if it's hurt. You're acting like it's this big, like, oh, like, yeah, sure, she has a reason to be, but, like, she shouldn't be cold and distant with me. She should, and she should stop running back to you, even though I hate him right now. Landon has a house with enough rooms for you, Tessa. Go to Landon. You don't need to keep, like, there are other people in your life. You don't need to keep going back to Hardin. You know what you should do next time? Instead of going to your mom, just go to Noah's house. I know you're not together, and I know his parents will probably be like, you cheated on our son, but go to Noah. It's so much better than going to Hardin every time something happens in your life, because this is why you can't get away from him. You don't give yourself that time to get used to being apart. See, so Hardin's mom is, like, they're having the conversation, and she's like, look, I know something's up with you two, because he was surprised when he saw you in the apartment, and I'm not an idiot, so, like, it's okay if, like, did he hurt you? And Tessa's like, yeah, and then they don't say what happened. Tessa's like, I don't want to tell her that. Can you stop? So it kind of ends with Hardin's mom saying, I know that if he lost you, he would go back to how he was before, but I don't want you to feel obligated to be with him because of that. Which is just saying, like, look, girl, I know he hurt you, but if you leave my son, he's gonna get fucked up again, so, like, no pressure or anything, which, like, that's a lot of pressure. Trish, is that her name? I think, who's Trish? Is that her? I don't know. Tessa, I don't think she says her name at all on these pages. She's just like, the older woman, his mom, blah, 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 blah. I think it is Trish. It sounds like a Trish thing to say. Oh, so now it's Christmas, and Landon and his family have invited Hardin, Tessa, and Hardin's mom to dinner. So Tessa and Hardin are at the mall getting gifts for them because Tessa's like, we need presents, even though Landon was like, you don't need presents. But then they run into Steph, who was Tessa's roommate in the first book, and she was also in on the bet. And then she's like, I can't forgive you. And Steph is like, you can forgive him? The one who started it all? You can forgive him, but not me? And she's like, how fucked up is that? And Tessa's like, I haven't forgiven him, even though, like, obviously she has, because she wouldn't be pretending to date him. Oh my god, this book is so stupid! Fuck! And then the scene was also just not needed. We didn't need it. It was just filler. That's why this book's so fat. There's so many filler chapters. Oh my god, I haven't even gotten into the Zed stuff. Oh, they're like, oh, what should we get Landon for a Christmas gift? And then Hardin is like, maybe some lipstick, because he's implying, I don't really know what he's implying, but, like, he's trying to make fun of Landon by being like, oh, he's a girl because he's not a man who punches walls. And I'm like, really? That's the best you can come up with? You might as well just call him, like, I don't know, a dweeb or something. Like, I'm surprised Hardin hasn't, even though, like, that's my word. Dweeb is my word. If Hardin steals that word from me, I'll shank him. So Hardin and Tessa are talking about everything that's happened, and she says, how will I know that you won't hurt me again? And he says, you won't, Tessa. I can assure you that I will hurt you again. You will hurt me too. That's not love. I don't think you guys get that. That's not love. Tessa says, I don't want to be that girl, the one who gets walked over and treated like shit and just puts up with it, and we still have this much of the book. So that obviously doesn't happen. Thank you for giving me another chance. He pants and pulls me into his chest. You act like I had a choice. He frowns. You do. I know, I lie. Oh my god, it's so romantic, you guys! She doesn't have a choice in dating him because he stalks her! I want a romance like this so badly, oh my god! So now they're having sex, and Hardin's mom is in the other room. This is another point I think I made in the first video I made. Their relationship is just kind of built off sex. Like, I read this one book. It's called The Raven King. Or, no, Blue Lily, Lily Blue is where it starts. So, in that book, there's this couple. They can't kiss because the girl is destined to kill her true love with a kiss, and we find out in the first book that the man is gonna die by the end of the series. It's not painful at all! But, like, in that book, there's a scene where they're just together. I think it's in Blue Lily, Lily Blue, because that's kind of when the relationship starts. And the guy is like, I just want to kiss you. Like, that's all I want. But I know I can't. And I felt the physical pain. Like, I felt upset that they couldn't kiss. I could feel it in the writing, in the voice. I was emotionally invested. I could feel their love for each other. I could feel the characters' love for their friends. I could feel all of it. In this book, you can't. It's just like, oh, how am I supposed to feel about the relationship at this point? Oh, they're fucking. I'm supposed to be rooting for it. That's how it's written. It's like, oh, like, you can feel good about shipping them now because they're having sex, so everything's okay. Like, I just wish there was more emotion to it. There's also some, like, a lot of instances where if I was editing this book, I would have been like, show, don't tell, because there is some scene, I'm not gonna find it, because there's no way I can, because this book's so long. It's just kind of a throwaway line where Hardin is like, I wish Tessa would realize the beauty in her white scars on her thighs. And at first I was like, self-harm? Like, I feel like that should be addressed, you know, that Tessa's done that. But then I was like, oh no, he's talking about stretch marks. And it's just the fact that it's like an insecurity Tessa has. Like, it builds to her character. But we never see her being insecure about this. We just hear about it from a different character who's like, oh, she shouldn't be insecure about this natural thing that happens. But, like, we're not, like, invested in that insecurity. We never hear it from Tessa. It's never brought up again after that. And, like, I know what you're thinking. Claire, this book was written on Wattpad. It's not that deep. But it was edited and expanded. But they couldn't have done simple things like that to help the characters grow. They just give us more shitty arguments and sex scenes. Like, that's all we get. So, read the Raven Cycle is what I'm trying to say. Oh, then there's this one quote. It's, whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same. And everyone is like, oh my god, Anna Todd is a literary genius. And this isn't an attack on Anna Todd, but everyone, like, celebrates this line, and they're like, holy shit, this is the quote of After. This represents the book. It's a beautiful quote from that book, but it's from, like, a Jane Austen novel, and not After, and I feel like more people need to just get that out there. This isn't, like, a hate on the fandom, because they probably don't know unless they've read whatever book it's from, but it's not an After quote. It's from something else. So, like, stop giving credit to the wrong author is what I'm trying to say. And it's in the book. It's like Hardin gets her a little charm bracelet with that very long quote on a little tiny charm. And then we get a scene where it just really solidifies how bad of a boyfriend Noah was. It's like, Noah gave me the same thing every year, perfume and socks every single year. Then again, I gave him cologne and socks every year. It was our thing, a boring routine. Like, you could have spiced that up. Like, I love when Anna tries to be like, oh, look at how boring it was dating Noah. Hardin got her an e-reader and a bracelet. Noah got her socks and perfume. But she also got Noah perfume and socks. Just, it was a more masculine perfume, you know? Like, stop trying to I don't know what I'm trying to say. Stop trying to make him be the devil. You know? What am I trying to say? Stop trying to make Noah the bad guy where he's not. Noah's the only redeemable character in this book. Huh. Tessa's mom randomly breaks into their apartment, just like Noah randomly breaks into Tessa's dorm room in book 1. We don't need this scene. I wish Tessa's mom just died. Ow! Ow, that was my tooth. That hurt. Oh, so it's actually important that Tessa's mom comes, because she spoils everything that happened between Tessa and Hardin to Hardin's mom. She's like, oh really, do you want to know what your son did to my daughter? He fucked her for a bet, he showed everyone the condom, the sheets, and God knows what else he did, and he got all this money for it. And then Hardin's mom says, how could you, Hardin? I had hoped you were different now. I hoped you would stop doing things like this to girls. Woman, have you forgotten what happened last time? And it's like, Hardin's done this before. He's fucked a girl for a bet before. I know I think I brought this up earlier, but like, we been new, bitch. Like, you don't just oh no, I lost my page, randomly start doing that. There we go, I found it. Like, this poor woman was raped, okay? And now her son has a lot of fucked up sexual problems. Like, that must be so triggering for her. You know what? Trish, what was her last name? David? I don't know. Trish Devon. My heart goes out to you. She's also one of the only redeemable, well, no, okay. Not really redeemable, but like, you feel for her, you know? So I took a 2-hour break from filming. That's why the sun is now illuminating my shoulder and my background yellow. But let's continue. This video is already at 1 hour and 20 minutes. I kept joking that it would be 3 hours, and I think we're really gonna be 3 hours into this thing, and I will still not be done. Anyways, so we find out that Hardin has done this bet thing before, and he's like, before I didn't have the same kind of proof. I would do pictures and a video, and we basically find out that with one of the girls, he filmed her having sex without her knowledge. Yikes. And then her parents found out, like the video got around, her parents found out, and they kicked her out because she had sex, because they were very religious. And there was this one part, I don't know where it is. Yeah, so he says that he only recorded Natalie, that's the girl I mentioned before, until he came to America. And then there's some guy named Dan who, like, was he in the first book? I don't know, but Hardin also recorded himself having sex with Dan's sister, and Dan doesn't like him because of that now. And it was all for a bet. So Tessa wasn't even the first one in America he did this to. He didn't let go of his disgusting, fucked up ways. And then, where is it? So Hardin says, I didn't show anyone. I deleted it after I sent Dan a screen grab. I didn't know why I did it, really. He was such a dick about telling me to stay away from her when he brought her around the first time that it made me want to fuck her just to piss him off. He's truly an asshole anyways, Tessa. As if Dan, whoever the fuck he is, being an asshole, makes it okay for Hardin to fuck Dan's sister just to piss Dan off. As if those have, and to film her without her knowledge, I'm assuming, because Natalie didn't know. As if that makes it okay. Tessa marries this man. I want you to think about that for a minute. Tessa marries this man. Let's see. Tessa says, where is it? How do you not see how fucked up this is? How fucked up you are? And he's like, I know I'm fucked up, Tessa. And then he's like, this was before you, Tessa. This was my past. You still fucked her for a bet. It's not your past because it just happened. It's like, oh, I did all of this before you, even though I pretty much did the exact same thing minus the creepy filming to you. What makes anyone think that that's okay? And then she's like, he says, please let it stay that way, like in his past. I'm not the same person now. You've made me a better person, even though he was literally doing this, like, what, a week ago? I don't know, 232 pages ago, he was trying to fuck, like, he was still doing the bet. So, you haven't changed that much, bozo. Tessa says, Hardin, do you even care about what you did to those girls? Wait. You don't even care about what you did to those girls. You don't even feel guilty, do you? And he says, I do. And she says, only because now I know. And then he doesn't argue her on that point. And she's like, you didn't care about them, about anyone. And then he was like, you're right, I don't care. Honestly, I don't give a shit about anyone except you. Which isn't romantic. Okay, we have Hardin admitting, okay, yeah, you know what, I fucked all of those girls for a bet, or, like, for my own selfish gain, just to make other people pissed, but I don't care about any of them, Tessa, they don't matter, I care about you, because you're the only girl I fucked for a bet that I have feelings for, so it's okay, we can forget about them. No! This should this shouldn't be, like, this small of a thing, because it's not even that big for the plot. Like, Hardin... I don't know what I'm trying to say. Fuck! What is he, like, so he's like, it doesn't matter. Even though it does matter. But it doesn't matter, because he only has feelings for her. It's okay that I did it, because I actually like you. And then she's like, I don't know you at all, do I? And Hardin says, yes, you do, Tessa. You do know me. This wasn't me. This is me. This is me now. I love you, even though a week ago he was still trying to hide that bet. I will do anything for you to see this as me. The man who loves you more than breathing. The man who dances at weddings and watches you sleep. The man whose day can't start until you kiss me. The man who would rather die than be without you. That's me. That's who I am. Please don't let this ruin us. Please, baby. And I was like, die, bitch. Just die then. Because, like, I don't know why... Ow, sorry, my knee dug into a book and that hurt. I don't know why Hardin would think that it's okay. I don't know why he would think, oh yeah, Tessa will be able to forgive me for this. But you know what the sad thing is? She does. She forgives him. Later on, not right now. And then she's going to leave, and he's like, you're not leaving. And she's like, you will not tell me what to do anymore, which she's been saying all of these pages. So, you know, that's how that works out. Yeah, so there's that. Hardin thinks, oh no, it's okay that I did this because I love you. And Tessa's like giving him the reaction he didn't want. So Tessa tries to defend Hardin's actions. She says, what he did was wrong, so incredibly wrong, but sometimes I forget that he's an angry, lonely man up until now, has never loved anyone. That doesn't give him the right to do anything he's done. Look, people's traumas do not give them the right to hurt other people. Like, it's not even excusable. You can't be like, oh yeah, he had a chance at therapy but didn't want to talk, so, you know, he never solved these issues. No, he's had chances to solve his problems, and he hasn't taken them. Stop defending that. Trish is redeeming herself. She wasn't really redeemed earlier. Like, the reason I said that is because there's parts where she's like, but my son loves you, and I'm just sick of people saying that about Hardin to Tessa. But she says, you really have to think about this. He did the same thing to you that he did before. So now she's like, think about if you really want to date my dick of a son. Now, because she now knows that he fucked up. So then there's this scene where Hardin writes Tessa a letter, and instead of reading the whole letter, I made little notes about what each paragraph is about. So the first paragraph is, I can't feel feelings, so here's a book quote. The second paragraph is, blah, 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 boy pain. And then, I'm a bad boy. And then, girls are whores and I am not. And, I'm an asshole. I have anger issues and hate the poor. I should be in jail, which I'll come back to because there's another reason he should be in jail coming out later. And, it's okay when I do it. Also, I'm 4. I wanted to fuck you. It was love, obviously. I already loved you before I decided to do the bet. I decided to annotate a book because I loved you so much. I'm obsessed with you. Pity me, my man pain is strong. And that's basically his whole letter. Right there. Just those however many points. And then Tessa's like, this beautiful, somewhat disturbing, but mostly beautiful letter. As if him talking about whatever happened in this letter. Like, wasn't there an I hate the poor and girls are whores thing? What is this? Oh, so it was just like he was beating up this kid who couldn't afford to get his nose fixed when Hardin broke it. And then the kid's mom died and Hardin was like, sucks to be you, bitch. Let's see. This is another thing Tessa says. Things that matter most to me is that he doesn't do them anymore. Like the bet, which he just fucking did, because that's the whole plot of the first book and a majority of this one is the bet that he did. It's fine. I hate to admit it, but there's a sort of poetry to him never caring for anyone except me. Or he's just manipulating you. That's an option too, Tessa. My background is getting really yellow. I'm scared I'm gonna close my blinds soon. Oh, what? Oh, okay. I'm gonna read what I wrote here, because I snapped. I said, one day we will all be dead. Unless it's by our own hand, we will have no way of knowing or preventing or our unavoidable deaths. It's going to happen one day whether we like it or not. There will be nothing after death. Nothing we say or do will matter. So why go through life worrying about how other people see us? Why do things we may not agree with ourselves because in the end... Why do things we may not agree with ourselves? What does that mean? In the end, it was time wasted. If you're in love, what's keeping you from telling? Who cares if they don't love you back? You're young, you're old, this is life. Life is full of wonders and magic. Maybe doing things you don't want to really do, like work or school, you may find this magic. I did not want to read this book. I am 251 pages into this terrible excuse of a romance. I've been reminded of things I don't want to be reminded of, and yet I've pushed through. But it hurts, because I've gone back to people who leave and hurt me, and it only went downhill from there. So life is a risk, and this, dear Tessa, is a stupid risk to take. And I titled it, A Breakdown. Oh, because she tells Hardin she loves him at the end of this chapter. Trish isn't redeemed anymore. Hardin says, it's just that she belongs with me, Mom. Nowhere else. Only with me. And then Trish is like, I know she does, Hardin. I see that now. I'm sorry. You should be disagreeing! Why is everyone, like, every side character in this book, except for a handful, and by a handful I mean, like, Zed, Tessa's mom, and Noah, and maybe Trevor, I forgot he existed, don't think that Hardin and Tessa should be together, and they're, like, the only characters who are right. They're the only characters you should be able to like, but they're all so unlikable that you can't. We haven't even gotten into the Zed problem. Fuck. Because we're at Christmas now. So basically, what happens at Christmas is they're having wine or something, and Hardin's dad used to be an alcoholic, and Hardin is like, don't you want to drink, Dad? Like, he just attacks him for no reason. And then he's like, come on, I'm sure you miss drinking. And his dad is like, Hardin, I'm a recovered alcoholic, like, please stop. And Hardin is like, don't you want one drink? I'm getting out of the sun. And then it just turns into this whole thing where even Ken is like, you're crossing a line. And Hardin's like, am I? And his mom is like, you are, Hardin. I haven't seen your dad in how long, and you're fucking this up? Like, come on, we're already divorced, and he already has such a better life than me, and it's really awkward, but shut up. And then there's just nothing to prompt it. It was just, Anna was like, we need more drama. What can I do? It doesn't need to be here. Where is it? Oh yeah, on this page, 272, Hardin pushes Ken into a china cabinet. And Tessa still says, no, he would never physically hurt me. Never in his life would he ever physically abuse me. And, what's happening here? I can't decide if I should be angry with him. He ruined dinner and literally assaulted his father in front of everyone, says Tessa. However, I feel for him. He has been through so much, and his father is the root of all of his problems. The nightmares, the anger, the lack of respect for women. He never had anyone to teach him how to be a man, and I said he had therapy, but, he didn't listen to that, so I doubt he would listen to his dad. Also, the nightmares are not caused by his dad. The nightmares are caused by the actions of other people. I get it, it's because of his dad's initial fuck-up that caused those men to come into his life and rape his mom, but it's technically not his dad's fault that other people chose to do that, and it's not Hardin's fault that those people chose to do that. It's his fault that he never talked in therapy and never tried to heal from this, and I don't think he ever will until, later on in the book series when he becomes a better person after burning down a house. And then Trish is like, he didn't do anything to you today. You provoked him about his drinking for no good reason. And then she's like, what do you get out of being angry with him? Because she was probably angry with him because, she was the one who was actually hurt in this experience. Hardin was just a witness. He was still hurt, but not as bad as his mom. And his mom is like, I've been able to let go. I've been able to heal from this. you need to do that too, and you need to stop picking fights with people. And it's like, Trish, I want to like you, but you already said that Hardin and Tessa were soulmates, so like, I think he accidentally like touches Tessa during the fight, and she's like, if he had physically hurt me, we would have a much bigger problem. I'm like, oh, so now you consider it, and that's like the only time she does. And then Hardin, this is why he comments on his dad's alcoholism, is because he was acting like nothing happened at a dinner where you probably don't want to bring up your horrific past with your new wife, your ex-wife, your stepson, your bitch of a son, and his ish girlfriend. It's Christmas, it's not the time to talk about any of this, Hardin. And his mom was also acting like nothing happened. What is this? Yeah, he's like, someone had to stand up for my mom. It's like, your mom can stand up for herself, Hardin. She really can. So, that's that scene. I don't know what's happening, but it's the next chapter after that Christmas fight, and she's sucking his dick. What the fuck, Tessa? Punish him. He doesn't deserve this. Ooh, interesting annotation at the end of this chapter. I said, Hardin uses sex to feel more in control / better about himself. Which, honestly, I can see that. I'm glad I made that comment. Yeah, because, like, every time there's an argument, he uses sex to regain control of Tessa, to regain control of himself and the situation, and that's fucked. And then we have Hardin and Tessa talking about tampons, and he calls them plugs, and Tessa acts like a 4-year-old, and she's like, don't call them plugs, they're tampons. Ooh, and then later on we get a scene where Hardin is at her work, and he's like, I'm gonna fuck you on your desk, and Tessa's like, okay. And then, like, the way it's described, it was like, I turn around and lift up my skirt, and I just felt like, in my head, she had the, like, just this expression of pure boredom on her face. Like, she's like, oh, here we go again, like, okay, whatever. And then it's a period sex scene because Hardin is like, I love you so much that I'll have sex with you on your period, which I think happened in 50 Shades of Grey in one of the books. He was like, nope, I need to prove how much I love you by having sex with you on your period, which, like, isn't that romantic? It's kind of gross. So it's Christmas time, like, Tessa's invited Landon, Hardin's dad, and stepmom back to their place to exchange gifts because of what happened the other night. And Tessa got Landon gifts for, like, tickets for a game. I think it's a basketball game. I don't remember. But they're like, oh, there's 2, and she's like, oh, Hardin can go with you. And Hardin's like, why would Landon want that? And Landon's like, yeah, like, Tessa, you could come with me. And then Hardin's like, no, I'm going. Because he feels so threatened about Tessa with any man. Like, there's a scene in the very end of the book where a man bumps into Tessa and looks at her, and she looks at him, and Hardin's like, fuck, I gotta fight a homeless man. So, turns out to be her dad. But that's a whole other thing. I'm not there yet. I still have this much to talk about. Fuck.
Don't worry, Hardin. Trevor and I are just friends. Anyways, he's moving to Seattle in March, so don't worry, you'll never have to see him again.
You really think that matters to me? He's still in Washington now. Bitch. I mean, I didn't swear at you because I love you, Tessa.
Hey, Hardin, is there a reason we fuck every time we argue?
What? No. No reason at all. We don't fuck every time we argue. Sometimes we argue and you leave and then we fuck.
Oh yeah, I forgot about those times.
So I don't know what I missed, but I guess Hardin saw Trevor because Tessa says, I don't know what I would have done if he'd assaulted Trevor in the office. Kimberly would have been forced to call security, and Hardin surely would have been arrested. Keep that line in mind. Keep in mind that she thinks Hardin is capable of being arrested, because, ha! You wish. So, finally, 333 pages into the book, we are introduced to more conflict. Oh my god, this lighting is so bad. Tessa's starting to hang out with Zed. Because every great novel needs a love triangle.
Hey Tessa, wanna see my tattoo?
Yes? Oh wow, Zed, what a great tattoo!
Thanks. What the fuck are you doing, Tessa? I told you to stay away from him!
So after that scene where Tessa looks at Zed's tattoo and Hardin's fuck, I can't speak. Hardin has several heart attacks. Hardin, who was scared that Zed was going to take advantage of drunk Tessa, because she's drunk in this scene, takes her upstairs and fucks her. Because it's okay if he does it.
I'm the one in charge. The one who's... That's a dumb line. I'm the one in charge. The one with the control. Don't forget that, baby.
Oh, Hardin, I'm so excited for you to control me for the rest of my life. Please have sex with me. Faster than you're doing right now, because come on, boy. Like, I'm waiting here.
So, after they have sex, and this is New Year's now, and celebrate New Year by not kissing, but I poke his cheek with my finger. Okay. Hardin walks up to some random girl, and he's like, don't tell anyone that I was in the room with you. And then Tessa's like, okay. And then the girl says, don't worry, I never kiss and tell. And then Tessa's like, okay. So she gets mad, and she's very, very, very drunk, even though they just had sex, and that's not sexual assault at all. I'm trying to make the lighting better in here, because that's bad. Anyways, so then Tessa kisses a random guy, and Hardin beats the random guy up because Tessa kissed him, and I really wish he had just slapped her or punched her. Like, I wish it was her he was beating up. And look, I'm not one to call for abuse. I don't want Hardin to actually slap Tessa, but if it's what makes her realize, oh, this guy's fucked up, it should happen, okay? That's all I'm saying. Let's see. And then he's like, it was just an expression. We didn't actually kiss. I was apologizing for fucking her one time that I fucked her for a bet. And Tessa's like, oh, okay. Or they're still angry at... I don't know, wait, I don't think they make up that fast.
Hear that, babe? Zed thinks he could actually have you.
Stop it, Hardin. Just stop.
Look at her. I bet you're thinking about it right now, aren't you? We'll never have her, kid, so give it up now. No one will have her except me. I'm the only one who will ever fuck her. The only one who will know how good it feels to have her.
Stop it! What the hell is wrong with you, Hardin?
Nothing. I'm just telling him how it is.
You're being cruel and disrespectful to me.
So I had to move because the sun was just too bright. But, so this is how this scene ends. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't even look at me. So I take off my shoes and walk into the bedroom. As soon as I close the door, I hear glass shatter. When I rush into the living room, the wall is wet and glass litters the floor. I watch helplessly as he grabs the other two glasses and slams them against the wall. He takes one last swig from the bottle and then uses all of his strength to shatter it against the wall. Which is very repetitive, but also, Hardin's doing this because Zed drove Tessa home. Therapy! Oh, so that wasn't the end of it. He grabs the lamp off the table, causing the cord to rip out of the wall before smashing it on the floor. He then grabs a vase and breaks it against the brick. Why is his first instinct to break everything in sight? And she still thinks, he will never in his life, ever, 100% positive, he will never lay a hand on her. He then, because I keep reading the next line, she says, stop it! Hardin, you're gonna break all of our stuff, please stop it! And Hardin says, this is your fault, Tessa. You fucking caused this. And she says, I know it is. Please just talk to me. Please, Hardin. You fucked up, Tessa, so badly. I love you, I blurt. I need to try and calm him down, but he's just so drunk and intimidating. Well, you acted like you don't. You kissed another fucking guy, then you bring Zed to my fucking house. She kissed another guy because she's a cheater, Hardin. Call Joey Greco up and he'll confirm it. She's a cheater. Zed bringing her home was because I think you left her at the party and she had no other way of getting home. So, Zed's evil plans aside, you're just really sensitive. Also, like, she cheated on Noah how many times with you? Of course she's gonna cheat on you at some point, but she also thought you were fucking some random girl after, like, before you fucked her, so, like, yeah. How do people think this isn't toxic? Here's the scene where I was talking about where Tessa flinches. That was during that fight that I just read, but here's kind of the aftermath of that. Hardin says, "You were afraid of me. I saw it in your eyes." And Tessa says, "No, I wasn't afraid of you. I know you wouldn't hurt me. You flinched. I remember that. Most of everything is a blur, but I remember that clear as day." I was just caught off guard, I tell him. I know he wasn't going to hit me, but he was behaving so aggressively, and the alcohol can make people do unspeakable things that they would never do sober. Which just makes me feel like she didn't actually think he wasn't gonna hit her. You know, because, like, also, who raises their hand like this to do that? Because that's what he did. But, like, the fact that she even thought for a second, oh my god, he might hit me, and flinches away, that's not good. It's not romantic. Tessa's taking a yoga class in college. Hardin joins it. Later on, there's some scene that I'll probably read to when I get to it, because I'm gonna forget that I said this, where this girl is, like, low-key flirting with Hardin, and he's like, I mean, Tessa is like, "This slut needs to back the fuck off. This is my man." But, like, nobody knows that they're together, so it's just, we love when women support other women, wow! He also joins the class so he can keep an eye on her. That's not weird at all, right? I forgot about this. So, some drama in this book. We're now this far to the end. Some of the drama is caused because Tessa mumbles Zed's name in her dream, and Hardin just can't have that. He, like, gets drunk, and then I think this is the scene where, like, oh yeah, so Tessa's really worried about him all day, but we know that he's out drinking, and there's a lot of moments, especially in this one, where I noticed, oh, the author, like, Anna could have built up the tension, but she didn't. Instead, she used Hardin's point of view as a way out of it. And one of the biggest ones is coming up near the end. And I'm not gonna spoil it because it's one of my favorite things to bitch about. Because holy shit, I was almost like, even though I knew what was happening, I was a bit invested. Because I was like, finally, it's like good. And then the thing that I'm not spoiling happened. And it just, you need tension in your books, especially if you're gonna try, like, you can't use both point of views, one to try and build up the tension and the other to diminish it, because that's not how tension works. Especially if after the chapter where you diminish it, you're still trying to play it up, you know? You'll understand when I get to that one part. Oh yeah, also, Hardin being away and not replying to Tessa all day because he's hungover and in bed causes her to get in a small car accident. And then when Tessa sees that he's been with another girl, she's like, "I don't want to talk to you." And then Anna cut my favorite scene. I'm pretty sure it was in this book. I just remember reading the fan fiction, and there was the scene where Tessa gets in the car accident, and then she calls her mom, so her mom comes out, and her mom's like, "Oh, what happened? Like, are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I just have a small concussion. Nothing too bad." And then her mom's like, "Okay, let's go shopping." And then they run into Zed at the mall, and Tessa's like, "Zed, I want you to take me home. I don't want to be here. I'm sitting on a bench and my mom's in that store. Like, take me home. I was in a car accident." And that's not in the book, but Zed bringing Tessa home is, because we're in Hardin's point of view, and then, like, what is it? Zed brings her in, and he's like, "Bitch, I told you to stop hanging out with him." And Tessa's like, "I wasn't gonna call you to come pick me up." So it just didn't work as much. Like, where is it? Yeah, Zed's there, and she's like, "Thanks for bringing me home, Zed. I really appreciate it, but you should leave because Hardin's gonna kill you and not me, because he'll never hit me because he's not like that to me." We get one of the most beautiful things. Hardin and Tessa are apart for 9 days, and then we just kind of get this dramatic, like, here's what I'm doing for these 9 days. And this is where we get the scene where Tessa is, like, depressed to the point where she's like, "I didn't want to be alive. I saw no reason to be." I don't remember where it was, but I remember thinking, wow, Tessa, that's like a really bad way to be feeling over a man. But like, it makes sense because he's hurt her so much. But also, like, shouldn't that tell you, hey, I shouldn't go back to this guy? Also, she gets oddly religious here. Like, in the first book, there was no sign of Tessa being religious besides her not wearing revealing clothes. She never talked about going to church, but in this one, she's like, I would have to wear my Sunday's best. I would have to go to church. Oh, I'm praying to God. So that was just a bit weird. But, you know, that's just a nitpick, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, she's like 9 days without Hardin. And then I said, at Anna Todd, please don't fuck up my plant son Zed, because he was the only character I liked at this point. And then we get Hardin's point of view during those 9 days, and I just really did not care. He runs into Natalie, and she's engaged, 6 months along, and she's like, funny how things work out, isn't it? About him fucking her for a bet, and filming it, and getting her kicked out of her house, and then not doing anything to help her after that situation. And she's like, I forgive you, because, like, you know, I didn't at first, but it's best for my heart, and my God would have wanted me to, and blah, 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 religion. Oh, that's an ice cream truck. Okay, I thought I was getting haunted by dolls. Let's see. Oh, yeah, she also forgives Hardin because, she met a man throughout all of this. She met a man and fell in love. Like, that's not a good reason to forgive someone, but whatever floats your boat. Hardin says this about his pain, comparing it to what Tessa must be feeling. I can't imagine her fragile body withstanding this type of pain. Okay. Tessa kisses Zed. This is actually really important for future chapters. Remember it, folks. Also, apparently Zed is dating some high schooler named Rebecca, and I'm like, was she ever mentioned in any of these books besides this scene where he's like, I don't love Rebecca as much as I love you? Like, can you please, if you've read the books, comment, when does Rebecca show up besides page 475 of After We Collided? Because I'm very confused. Why is Zed so dead set on fucking Tessa if he has a girlfriend? I just want to know. Now Hardin is back from London. Did I say he was in London? Because he went back for the 11 days at this point. And now he's back because Vance is having a dinner before he goes off to Seattle to live there in his new, because his new publishing house is there, or like the new headquarters or something. I think that's what's happening. And then Hardin sees Trevor there, and this is the line. I hated that bastard so fucking much. I could walk over there now and throw him through that glass window and no one would be able to stop me. Why the fuck is he always around her? He's a fucking twit and I'm gonna fucking kill him. Hardin, they're co-workers. Like, is Tessa even gonna get a job if she marries Hardin? Because, like, a male is gonna walk in her direction and Hardin's gonna be like, fight me, bitch. Like, calm down. Also, every time Hardin says Trevor's name, he says fucking Trevor, and it got old very fast. Like, dude, you need to get over yourself or just fuck him. It's one of the two. So, Vance and Kimberly, who, I don't know if I've mentioned Kimberly at all. She's just the secretary at his place, but they're dating. They get engaged in this one. So they don't get married until, I guess, the next one. I don't know. But Tessa's all like, oh, I wish that was me. I wish I was getting engaged, even though I'm only 19 and I am not ready for marriage at all because I can't even, like, get my life together enough to get rid of this idiot. And Hardin's there. And then they talk, I guess. And Tessa says, I'm so sick of crying all the time. And it's like, I have a simple solution for your problem. It's called leaving him. Just do it. Here's the scene where Hardin accidentally hurts Tessa while fighting Zed. So Zed comes to pick her up from the dinner because Hardin was in England. And also, I think him and Tessa have started a relationship, kind of. But, so Hardin says, I fucking told you to stay away from her, as he's, like, beating him up. And then, where is it? So Tessa pulls on my arm and reflectively I knock her back onto the driveway. And then everything stops. And Hardin is like, oh my god, what did I just do? And Zed is like, you get away from her. And Hardin's trying to make it up to Tessa. He's like, I'm so sorry. I got so angry. I didn't know what I was doing. And she's like, you need to leave me alone. And then we get a little bit of villainous Zed, where Hardin is like, this isn't over, and Zed says, I think it is actually, and then smirks and gets into his truck. But the problem is I don't like Hardin at all. So I was like, yeah, Zed, yeah, you get that girl, even though I hate her, and you don't deserve her, but you really do, because she's horrible and you're horrible and whatever. It's fine. So this is the second time Hardin has accidentally hurt her. The first time was at his father's dinner when he attacked his father. I didn't get to that point when I was skimming it, so I'll read this part here. I know Hardin wouldn't hurt me purposely, but this is the second time something like this has happened. The first time I was quick to excuse his behavior. I was the one who convinced him to go to his father's for Christmas, and he just couldn't handle it. She's blaming herself for Hardin's own problems that have nothing to do with her. Tonight was his fault. He shouldn't have even been there. Here's the problem though, Tessa. I'm gonna pretend to be you for a minute. Oh, it's my fault Hardin hurt me when I was at his dad's place because I made him go. Oh, it's my fault Hardin hurt me when he was beating up Zed because I know Hardin doesn't like Zed and I could have told Zed to pick me up down the street. It's my fault again. There we go. That's how easy it is to do it. This is some Hardin things about Landon. Landon wouldn't call Tessa and trick her into coming back to my father's house no matter how many times I tried to force him to. He's a dick. Still, I have to admit, I admire his loyalty, but not when it stands in the way of what I want. Landon said I should allow Tessa to make the choice whether she wants to be with me or not, but I know what she's choose. Well, I thought I did. I was completely blindsided by Zed picking her up and having spent almost the entire weekend with her. Like, Hardin, you were in England. Let Tessa rebound however she wants. Spotlight. Anyways, so like, Hardin, it's your fault. Tessa has found love in another man because you're so shitty for her. So Tessa's with Zed right now, and Hardin says, like, in his head, he's like, fuck, if he gets her drunk and touches her, like you did twice in this one book? You mean like those 2 times he didn't even touch her. He put his whole ding-dong in her boo-ha. He went all the way. Hardin, you can't get mad at Zed for doing, like, for not, Zed doesn't even do anything. Like, there's nothing happening with that, but Hardin is like, if Zed does this to her, I swear to God I'm gonna kill him. Like, you should be killing yourself then. Like, not in, like, a suicide way, but, like, you should just beat yourself up so badly that you die. Well, I guess that is kind of suicide. But you know what I'm saying? Because you did the exact same thing. Why is it okay when you do it? But if Zed hypothetically does it, he deserves the death penalty. Like, what the fuck, man?
Hardin, what are you doing at my apartment? I came here to get Tessa. Let's go.
Excuse me? You what?
Ugh, here comes that Tessa attitude we all love so much. Bro, you can't just come to my apartment and tell her to leave. Actually, I can, and I just did.
I'm not going anywhere with you, Hardin. You can't just come here and demand that I leave with you.
Yeah, like, don't make me call the cops on you or anything, bro. What the fuck did you just say to me, man? You heard me, bitch.
Boys, let's not fight, please.
I'm gonna call the police right now. If you don't get out of my house. Oh, you think I care about the police? That's funny. Laughable, really.
Hardin, I'll go with you if you just stop.
Tessa, no, you can't.
I'll go with you, Hardin. Only because if I don't, you won't leave, and I know that.
Ha ha ha! I got the girl. I don't care why she's leaving. Only that the only point that matters is that you're coming with me. You don't have to leave with him. This is what he does. He controls you by frightening you and everyone around you, Tessa.
Yeah, but Zed, that's my own fault, because I shouldn't be hanging out with you, because Hardin doesn't like it, so I'm sorry I brought you into this mess. Please forgive me, and Hardin, let's go. God, you're a whiny bitch.
Hardin then threatens to snap Zed's neck in his internal dialogue. Yay! So after that happens, Hardin's like, just hear me out, okay? And she's like, why? And he says, because I missed you. And Tessa says, you missed me? You mean you're jealous that I was with Zed? You didn't miss me until he picked me up tonight. You are fueled by jealousy, not love. And then Hardin tries to defend it, and it's like, buddy, we all know that you're fueled by jealousy and not love, because nothing in this book tells me that they're in love. Oh my god, give me that Gonzi and Blue romance. Give it to me. Let me feel the pain. Like, I read these series when I was a kid. It's called Seekers by Aaron Hunter. I have book 6 here. There's these 2 bears. They're bears, okay? Fucking bears. And there's a scene where Toklo and Lusa are laying in a bush, and Toklo just makes a short comment that Lusa still smells like honey, even though they haven't been around honey in so many moons. And you know what? It was a punch in the gut, because I was like, oh fuck, they're in love. I am not getting this in this book. Look at how big it is. That book is like, what? Probably a bit smaller than this one, because this is the grand finale. It's smaller than this, and I could feel the love. I have this and the first book that's almost as big, a bit smaller, but almost as big. As you cannot convince me these 2 characters are in love with each other, because it's just not shown, it's not felt, it's not convincing at all. So Tessa learns that Hardin saw Natalie when he was in England, and he's like, she's pregnant, and Tessa's like, oh god, because she thinks it's Hardin's kid, and Hardin had a similar reaction, I guess, because the note I made was, I like that both Tessa and Hardin thought it was his kid. Like, why would she still be pregnant? That's not how pregnancy works. I don't know what's happening, but Tessa said, when he admitted that he wanted to take me away to England so I couldn't leave him, I should have run for the hills. And I'm like, what? That was a thing? Because I, like I said earlier, read this book a long time ago, but holy fuck. Why are you still with him, Tessa? Jesus! Tessa basically says, leave me alone, and Hardin's like, leave you alone? I don't know what that means, so I'm gonna kiss you instead, and that's just a big yikes, a Rooney. So I think in this scene, Tessa's wearing Zed's shorts, because this is just, like, boxers, because this is just after Hardin forced her out of his apartment, kind of. I guess they're back at their place. And he's, like, having a breakdown, kind of. What gets him the most is that she's wearing Zed's boxers, because she didn't have pajamas, and he's like, please, baby, please, And then he starts taking them off. He's like, I don't want to do anything. I just really need you to take those off, because, oh my god, they're Zed's. So Tessa says, I shouldn't have brought you into the middle of this until I could think straight. Like, she's apologizing for kind of hooking up with him. And Zed says, it's not your fault. I'm the one who keeps coming around. I don't mind being led on as long as you'll have me around. I know we could be good together, and I have all the time in the world to wait for you to see it, too. And then he just kind of walks away. And she's like, how can he be so understanding? Tessa, that's creepy! Oh, this is the scene with the glow-in-the-dark flowers. I didn't make that up, guys. It was an actual thing that happened. Zed is like a bioengineer. I don't know. But he made glow-in-the-dark flowers, and he was showing her, and I was like, why couldn't Zed have been nice? So Hardin and Tessa are, like, going on some dates now, because Hardin realized, maybe we should take things a bit slow and stop fucking every 5 minutes instead of, like, you know, trying to get to know each other better and trying to be better people. And then that's kind of not the point of this little clip, but I found my rant about the tension. So I said, one of my other problems with this book is the lack of tension. As a reader, I shouldn't expect Tessa and Hardin to get back together, especially this easily. I should have my doubts and worries that maybe, just maybe, they won't make it. That one day, when they claim to have reached the end of the line with the other, it is believable and not just cheap tension that will be resolved in a few chapters. And by a few chapters, I mean, like, one point of view switch and a quick fuck. So that's just, like, I'm almost at that one part. We're almost done, guys. I'm almost at that one part with, like, where there could have been amazing tension. I didn't know what was going on when I read it, actually. I was like, oh, what is this? And then one point of view switch brought it all down. And we're almost there. Bear with me. Also, Hardin really likes calling all of the girls he fucked in his past a slut, but, like, would he ever admit that he's a slut too? Because he also fucked all of those girls. Just some food for thought. Oh my god! Hardin is sick of his birthday party and he's gonna come over in 30 minutes! Ah! I need to bake him a cake and get ready and somehow successfully do this in 30 minutes. Even though I think cakes take a little bit longer than 30 minutes to make, but it's okay because I'll get it done because I'm Tessa.
Oh my god, I'm so fucking wasted. I'm not gonna be able to leave this party because I'm so drunk. Thank God Tessa isn't expecting me home at all tonight because she knows that I'm at this party drinking with friends for my birthday and that I'm not coming home and that she'll see me tomorrow. Oh, hey, there you are, Hardin. What do you want, Zed? Oh, you just left your phone on the couch, and I keep forgetting that I have a deep voice, but you left your phone on the couch, so here you go. I didn't text anyone. Well, thank God for that. It would have been awkward if I lost my phone and he texted someone for me. That's weird.
It's the next morning and Hardin's still not here. I hope he's not dead. I wonder what could have happened, but also, fuck him, he's standing me up again, isn't he? God, don't you all hate this tension because I sure do.
So this is that scene I've been talking about the whole time that I'm like, wait until I get there. So basically what happens is we get Tessa's point of view. And in Tessa's point of view, Hardin texts her going, hey, my party sucks, I want to come hang out with you, I'll be there in 30 minutes. And she gets ready, bakes an entire cake with Landon's mom, and it's like a double layer cake or something insane like that. Not realistic for half an hour. And then it's an hour after, 2 hours after, 3 hours after. It's clear he's not coming. And then we get this chapter. That's a whole chapter where we find out, oh, it's Zed who texted Tessa on Hardin's phone. And it just takes away any bit of, like, tension that was in the previous scene about what's going on. Because, like, he's just like, oh, here, your phone was on the couch. Don't want that getting lost. And Hardin's like, okay. But, like, then we know Hardin didn't have his phone through the whole night. And now we know Zed did it. And how many sentences is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 lines. It's like 13 sentences, maybe. I don't know. I can't tell if there's periods in some of these things, because I wrote, fuck, she ruined Zed. And then we didn't need this chapter in small writing, but, so I'll count how many sentences Zed is actually in the scene, okay? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of those sentences involve Zed being there. This chapter could have been 4 sentences long, but it was 13. But, like, in those 4 sentences, Anna just completely demolishes any form of tension she had, just so we as readers don't hate Hardin for the first time in a little while. Because, like, oh, I can't have them thinking that, like, you know, Hardin's fucking Tessa over and not showing up. I have to let them know it's Zed. No, you don't. That's what tension is. That's good writing. Like, I hate this part so much. And then we get Tessa's point of view where she's like, God, I'm an idiot. Like, I thought that Hardin was gonna come, and then he didn't, and it's been a couple of hours, and then, like, he calls her, and she's like, oh, now he's trying to drunk call me, like, fuck. And then, like, if we just didn't have Hardin's point of view in these few, like, chapters, it would have been so much better. It would have been like, oh my god, what's going on? Like, what's happening this time? Why aren't they together? Also, you better have appreciated that fucking scene with the dolls, because I had to tape things to their hands, which wasn't actually that hard, but filming was because of the weird angle, so, like, appreciate me, damn it! Tessa agrees to move to Seattle with her boss in 2 weeks, even though she's still only an intern. Might I remind you, she's not a full-time employee, she's just an intern. But, she's so great at her job of reading books that she's getting a promotion to move to Seattle in 2 weeks. And then she finds out that
like, later on, she finds out that Hardin wasn't the one who texted her, it was Zed. And then we get this scene from Hardin where he's like, I hate sitting here without her. He's in their apartment. I miss her legs resting on my lap as she studies, and I steal unnoticed glances at her while she pretends to do work. I miss the way she would obnoxiously poke my arm with her pen until I snatched it from her and held it above her head. And then she'd act so annoyed, but I knew she was only bugging me to get me to pay attention to her. The way she would climb on my lap and retrieve the object always led to the same thing every time, which was obviously a good thing for me. But here's the thing. We never see this at all in the book. We just see their arguments. Like, maybe if Anna showed some of these little moments between them. Earlier I said the little moments don't matter, but in this case they do. If Anna showed the little moments between Hardin and Tessa, maybe I would have a better time believing their romance. But because we don't get this, I don't really believe it. But, you know, like, things like that could help build. It helps build characterization. It helps build, like, the characters interacting with each other. It helps build their relationship. It shows moments that aren't just them fighting and crying and getting angry at each other and then fucking. So... Hardin now finds out that Tessa kissed Zed, and I only read up to that part, so, like, he knocks books off her desk. But here's the thing, they weren't together at that point, so he shouldn't get mad at her for that, okay? Just my humble opinion. So I was reading the scene, trying to see what I could comment on, and Hardin's like, what else did you do with him? Did you fuck him? Suck his dick? And she's like, oh god, no. You know I didn't, and I don't know what I was thinking when I kissed him. I was just being stupid, and I was in such a bad place. I was at such a bad place with you abandoning me. Abandoning you? You're the one who fucking left me. And now I find out you were flaunting yourself around campus like a fucking whore. And then she's like, don't call me names. And then she's like, do you want me to leave you alone? And he says yes. And then, like, where does it happen? 2 pages later, at the very bottom of page 619, he's like, don't cry. So I'm not going to read what happens in between that, but, like, they make up that fast. And then where is it? 2 pages after that, they start fucking, after agreeing. Nobody is going to interact with Zed. You're not. I'm not. No one is going to ever talk to Zed again. We're never going to see him again. And then I skipped over this sex scene because I realized I don't care. Was it this sex scene? Yeah, because it had a chapter break. And I was also in a clinic because I had an eye infection and I had to get it checked out. And an old lady was sitting next to me and she kept looking over and I was like, I don't want to read this sex scene next to this old lady. So I'm going to read the very last sentence of this chapter. And that's it. So that's what I did. And keep in mind, they agreed to never see Zed again, like the two of them. Hardin's point of view, he says, she is going to be pissed at me at least one more time because of Zed, but he needs to know that she's mine, and that if he fucking touches her again, he's dead. And I said, this is the only part of this chapter I read because I'm in public and I don't need to read another boring sex scene, but, like, Hardin is so fucking stupid. How does he know where to put his penis during sex? Jesus. Like, why does he think going after Zed is going to be a good idea? Also, oh my god. This is also one of my favorite things, because 1, the book's almost over, as you can see, and 2, Hardin fucks up so badly. I need a rant about that. So this is the start of the grand finale. It starts with Hardin listening to a voicemail Tessa left him at some point during this monster of a book. He says, she sounds so miserable and upset. In a fucked up way, it makes me happy to hear it. To hear the anguish and pure sadness in her voice as she cries into my ear. I wanted to know if she was as miserable without me as I was without her. And here's the proof that she was. That's sick, but okay. And then he's like, hey, where's Zed Evans? Because he's in the science building. And then, so, where does it start exactly? Hardin's just here to fight. Like, that's it. And then he starts fighting Zed. And it's, like, to the point where Zed is all bloody and stuff. Like, I'll get to the line in a minute because I'm going to actually physically read it to you. But, security comes and pulls what are their names? Hardin off Zed. And then he's like, what's going on? And Zed is like, he came in here and attacked me, and then starts crying. And Hardin is like, that little bitch is crying. Like, but the thing is, you did go in there just to attack him. And the line that I'm not reading yet because we're not there happens. Like, that happened. You did that to him. Like, the line is written in like, the cry, it's like, he literally starts to cry. Cry is in italic, because Hardin's like, can you believe this bitch? He's crying because I beat him so bad that he's bleeding and can't get up. And, like, his face is bloody, his lab coat is splattered with red, and he's not smiling anymore. Like, buddy. And then Tessa gets pulled out of class by Ken, who's Hardin's dad, and the, like, dean of this, not the dean, the chancellor of the school, I think he is. And then Ken is like, Hardin's been arrested, and I was like, praise Jesus. Fuck, we just, like, I did all of my prayers every night, I said my Hail Marys, and it finally happened. I got my wish. And then she's like, is Hardin okay? Will he go to jail? Real jail? Is Zed okay? And then they go to campus security, and where is it? Oh my god, this is all so crazy. I shouldn't have agreed to spend the entire day with him. If I had, he wouldn't have been on campus today. Because Hardin wanted her to skip school and hang out with him. Which is, in case you didn't catch it, Tessa blaming herself for Hardin beating Zed up. But not because she feels bad for Zed, but because Hardin might actually get arrested and go to jail. So Hardin is behind bars in the campus security, and he's like, they have me trapped in here like some fucking animal. This is bullshit. Call whoever you need to call and get them to unlock this shit. And Tessa's like, stop it. And Hardin's like, you shouldn't be here. Why did you fucking bring her here? And everyone's like, we're trying to help you. You need to calm down. And then Tessa's like, I don't think you realize what's going on, Hardin. You could go to jail. And Hardin's like, this isn't jail. This is just some bullshit holding cell until they decide to involve the real police. And she's like, you could get in a lot of trouble. And then, this is the part that pisses me off. She says, here's the problem with Hardin. He hasn't quite realized his actions have consequences. And I wrote, because they never do. And now, we skip a little bit. She finds out, oh, Zed's in the hospital. So she goes to visit Zed to ask him not to press charges against Hardin so he won't go to jail. She makes the conscious decision, even though she just stated Hardin doesn't know that his consequences will have actions. She makes the decision, oh, I'm gonna go prevent his actions from having consequences by asking Zed, who, I quote, Hardin beat up so much that, where was it? Oh, we're not at Zed yet. But here's, okay. Backtracking a little. Here's a line from Tessa. Because Hardin is like, I mean it, Tessa, come back here, don't go to Zed. And she's like, how dare he tell me what to do like that? Who does he think he is? He made a huge mess because he can't control his temper and jealousy. I'm trying to clean up his mess. He's lucky I didn't slap him for breaking his promise to me. God, he's so frustrating. Like, Tessa, you should be a little bit mad. Like, a little more mad at this. Because he, beat Zed up for your kissing of Zed when you guys weren't together. But, you know, whatever. It's fine. It's fine. How dare he tell me what to do like that? He's been doing that this entire book. You need to catch up. She says, I don't know which of these boys to be more angry with. It's hard to be angry at Zed as he sits here with so many injuries that I basically caused. And despite that, he's being so kind to me. You did not cause these, Hardin. It's all Hardin's fault. Like, the amount of times Tessa blames herself for Hardin's actions that, like, only happen because Hardin is a little bitch. It's disgusting. The fact that people think this is romantic, like, the whole book is basically Tessa going, oh my god, I caused this problem. Oh my god, I caused that problem. Like, she never like, none of these are her fault. They're because Hardin can't control his temper, and he's a little bitch who should rot in jail. Okay, where is it? So this is the start of that conversation with Zed that I've been teasing you all with for so long. I'm sorry that this keeps happening because of me, I tell him. It's not your fault. It's mine and his. He just views you as some sort of property, and it pisses me off. Do you know what he said to me? He said that I should know better than to fuck with what's his. That's how he talks about you when you aren't around, Tessa. And then she says, he's just territorial. And Zed says, you can't really be defending him right now, as he's bloody and bruised from Hardin beating him up because he's a bitch. I'm not. That's not what I'm doing, it is. I don't know what to think. He's in jail, well, a holding cell on campus, and you're in the hospital. This is just too much for me. I know I shouldn't be complaining, but I'm so sick of this drama all the time. Every time I feel like I can breathe, something else happens. It's drowning me. He's drowning you, Zed corrected me. It's not only Hardin that's drowning me, it's everything. It's this college, my so-called friends who betrayed me, Hardin, Landon leaving me, my mother, Zed. I did this to myself, though. Zed says, not without a little annoyance, stop blaming yourself for his mistakes. And it's like, if I didn't hate Zed because he's a psychopath, I would be, like, I would suck his dick. Like, thank you, you said it, you deserve a blowjob. Hi, Grandma! I know you watch this. Hi, Granddad! Let's see. Oh, and then Zed reveals that he stood you up on his birthday, and Tessa's like, did you send those texts to me, by the way? And Zed is like, oh, something hurts in my body. And then, where is the line? There we go, it's on the next page. Okay, so she's like, where is it? What hurts the most, I ask? Assessing his swollen face. Rejection. He timidly answers, ouch. My nose, he then offers as a gesture to soften the moment when they had to set the broken nose. Are you going to press charges against him? I ask. Yeah. Don't, please. I stare into his eyes. Tessa, you can't do this. It isn't fair. I know, I'm sorry, but if you press charges, he'll go to jail. To real jail. And then we get this. This is the line that I have been building up to. This is what this review, however long it may be, has been coming to. He broke my nose and I have a concussion. If he'd hit my head against that floor again, it would have killed me. So here, we need to unpack this sentence, okay? So Zed and Hardin, who's still taped up, got into a fight, and Hardin hit Zed's head against the ground so many times that if he did it one more time, he would have died. Zed would have died. Hardin was one slam of the head to the ground away from killing someone. Who also, Zed should be in a coma. Probably. I doubt he'd be this okay and alive and about to get discharged from the hospital, but go off, I guess. But, like, he was that close to killing a human being over a girl. And Tessa's like, but he can't go to real jail because then he'll realize his actions have consequences. Also, he would never physically hurt me, so, I don't know what your problem is. But then Tessa says, I'm not saying that's okay, but I'm begging you. Please, Zed, we are leaving anyways. I'm transferring to Seattle and Hardin will be gone too. She's never talked to Hardin about Seattle. She hasn't mentioned it once, because if she does, he's gonna flip his shit and say, then why can't we move to England where you'll be with me forever away from everyone you know and love? Huh? And then Zed says, he's coming with you? And she says, no, well, yes. You don't have to worry about him anymore. If you don't press charges, you won't have to hear from him again. And then Zed thinks about it for a few seconds and says, fine. I won't press charges against him, but please promise me that you'll really think about this. All of this. Think of how much easier your life would be without him, Tessa. He attacked me for no reason, and here you are cleaning up his mess as always. And then she's like, I will. Thank you so much.
And then he's just like, I wish I hadn't fallen in love with someone who wouldn't love me back. And it's like, you're still bringing this up. Also, Tessa, let Hardin go to jail! And then it's just kind of the end of it. Like, it just kind of, there's nothing really after that. Hardin doesn't really get in trouble besides, like, I don't know, a slap on the wrist. And then he's like, oh, I might not be able to go to college and I'll have to go back to England. But then that's kind of it. And then they're just getting a tattoo. Like, Hardin gets a tattoo for Tessa, and she's like, oh my god, he doesn't know I want to move to Seattle, and he's gonna hate me, and then this tattoo will be, like, a constant reminder of what I did, even though it's on his back. And then they leave, and she bumps into an old man, the homeless man that Hardin's gonna fight, because he's looking at Tessa, and then Tessa's like, Dad, and the book ends. So my final thoughts on this book are that it is shit. It's a very bad book. If you still don't see that the relationship is at least a little bit toxic, I don't know how to help you. Because, holy fuck, it made me so mad. This book is sending a message to people that this is okay, this is love. Girls, if your man is, like, this violent and troubled, such a troubled soul, it's okay, because one day you'll be able to fix him. Because in the end of the series, like, Hardin is a better person, I guess. I don't know. I don't really want to read the other ones. I did, and then I remembered how bad this one is and how angry I was. But, I guess Hardin has his growth, and that's when they really get together and get married and have kids. But just the fact that Tessa's there throughout all of this and still stays by him, even though she has no real reason to, besides he's the first person she's dated since Noah. That's it. That's her only reason. So, I don't know, I'm just not feeling it. And, like, you know what, you can like these books, but just acknowledge that it is a toxic relationship, because that's one of the biggest problems I've seen, is everyone is like, haha, those haters think this is an abusive relationship, but it's not, but it is. He fucks her, while she's drunk, convinces her it was her fault and that she wanted it and that there was no possibility of him stopping at all, ever, even though he could have just stood up and, like, tightened his belt a little. Like, and he does all of these other manipulative things. It's not the first time he's done that to a girl, and he doesn't care about them, and I care about you, and that's what makes it okay. Like, there's so many things that if this was happening to you, you would hate it. Like, when Tessa feels suicidal in that one scene that now I'm thinking I made up, it makes sense because of how shitty he treats her. Like, I don't know. The wrap-up to this video isn't that great, but basically, I might be done with this series. Who knows? It depends on if someone else buys me the next book, 'cause I don't think I could actually buy that for myself. But I do want to read it, because I think that's the one where Hardin burns down a house. I want to read that, because he doesn't get arrested there either. But yeah, so Hardin he needs to get arrested at one point, so he can realize, oh shit, being an asshole has consequences. Beating people up and almost killing them has consequences. But he just keeps getting free passes. And he shouldn't. Everyone around him gives him a free pass. Like Landon's mom, his dad, all of these people, they're like, it's okay, Hardin, you're troubled, so it's okay that you hurt Tessa, because we can tell that deep down you really love her. But the thing is, if he really loves her deep down, he would work harder to change. And he doesn't. So, yeah. That's kind of it. I don't know what book I'm going to be reading next. It might be a reading vlog. It might just be a review. I'm not sure, but I hope you guys stick around. I do have some really exciting things coming to this channel, something I can't talk about quite yet, but I'm very excited for it, and I know, hopefully, if he's watching this long video, you know who you are. I hope you're excited for it too. But yeah, happy reading. Please, if you are in an abusive relationship, there are people out there who will help you. There is support. I'm gonna try and find some legit links to, like, helplines or information and put that in the thing down below. If you know someone in an abusive relationship, please send them those links too. Yeah, that's kind of all I have. So, thanks for watching.
I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm interested to see how long it is. If it's 3 hours, I'm gonna scream, but you know. Have a nice day, and thank you.